It was terrible. There I am again.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, June 25th, 2020. This is your award-winning Gimbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1254.
This is No Agenda.
Making a tight talk hole with a gate and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where they're digging up my street, the New World Order. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
No, man, it's the Chinese. They're putting 5G in your street, man. That's what's going on.
Should put hand warmers in the street.
Hand warmers?
Yeah, warm up the street.
No, what is going on? So we were thinking of delaying the start of the show a little bit because you had jackhammers, and what is happening out there?
You can't hear the jackhammers at the moment. But
no,
you
nothing.
Can hear, actually, right now they're taking their 5-minute break every 5 minutes. There it goes. There's the grinder. They're drilling down the street all over the place so they can then take a jackhammer and dig up a line in the street and then dig a hole. They're going to do trenching after that, and then they're going to put in a new water pipeline.
Oh, do you need one? Is there something wrong?
I don't think so, but it's failing here and there again because I'm on a hill. And the hill is,
details.
The hill's always sliding
Here
a little
and
bit.
there.
It kind of cracks the pipes, and they got to put a new pipe in.
Well, they could have done it on any other day but a show day. I mean, geez, we already do one show on a Sunday to avoid this kind of crap. You could go out and maybe have a little chat with them.
I told him. I said I'm a podcaster. I'll do it exactly where I'm a podcaster. I have my decibel meter, and you guys are way over 100 decibels, which I believe is against the World Health Organization sound levels for daytime work. You should cease and desist.
And by the way, donate to my Patreon at patreon.com/Karen.
So anyway,
all right.
So
We'll
hear
get
it
through.
on and off.
We'll get through. As I said, I've created a very tight talk hole for you. With my
well, thank you.
with my gate expertise. All right, we'll see how we do. Well, I mean, you think you've got it bad there. I mean, I'm in the surge state. I'm in the state of Texas where we are.
By the way, are you okay?
No.
Are you okay?
No, we're all going to die.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. We're all going to die. I feel okay, but we're going to die.
California reporting more than 7,000 new confirmed cases in one day. Governor Gavin Newsom asking residents to be cautious as they were at the start of the pandemic.
We cannot continue to do what we have done over the last number of weeks. Many of us, understandably, developed a little cabin fever. Others have just, frankly, taken down their guard.
California is one of the nation's three most populous.
So why do these reporters on the networks and Democracy Now! And all the rest of them moan and groan because Trump or Abbott or whoever Republican it is not wearing a mask? I've never seen Newsom wearing a mask, and no one's ever said jack about it.
Do you really want me to answer the question?
No, I was just rhetorical. Never mind.
Oh.
Continue the clip, please.
States experiencing record highs in new coronavirus cases. And Newsom says its hospitals are ready for an influx of patients if needed.
California did to lead on a statewide stay-at-home, saved lives and bought us time to build out our infrastructure. And we have done just that.
Yeah, so brilliant strategist.
That's why today we're at roughly 8% capacity in our hospitals.
In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis once again said no to issuing a statewide mandatory mask order, despite the state health department recommending them.
Ultimately, we've got to trust people to make good decisions.
This, as one updated model suggests that universal mask wearing could help save more than 33,000 lives by October 1st.
Where's this model? I want this model. This is a great model. You're telling me 33, it's magic.
And
33?
Yes, 33. But wait, we're still number 3 on the list, ladies and gentlemen, the great state of Texas.
And in Texas, more than 4,300 people are hospitalized with the disease. One health expert warns Houston could end up the hardest hit city in the country, and other big Texas cities like Dallas and Austin could be deeply impacted too.
So our big metro areas seem to be rising very quickly. And and some of the models are, on the verge of being apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic! There it is. The models are on the verge of apocalyptic. Well, we know not to believe your models anymore. Here's what I know. Boots on the ground, lots of people here. We are now at 25 new admissions per day.
25? Oh, my God.
The hospitals are at the emergency rooms. Now, they're filling up. Hospitals still are at 10%. ICUs, it's all fine. But there's a couple of things going on that is, it's what you're not being told is what is the problem. Because life is back to normal here. People are walking around, although, oh my God, we get invited to a cocktail party on, I think, July 3rd. Backyard party. Please bring your own glass.
But they don't have a dishwasher?
Okay. I'm going to bring a tin cup with string around my neck. It's like, here I am.
You won't do that.
Oh, yes, I will. Yes, I will. But so life is kind of good. Now, we do have a mandatory mask order in place now inside any business. You cannot get fined, but the business can. Okay. We can get to that later, but fine. So that's what
if you're
that
in a restaurant? What's the restaurant policy?
You have to keep it on until you're seated at your table. And if you get up to go to the restroom, then you put your mask on, which people really aren't doing. But okay, we understand. It depends on the restaurant where you're at and if you're in Carentown or not. But it's just, yes, people are testing positive again. The majority asymptomatic. That's what the media calls cases. So it sounds severe cases. Hospitalizations are up, but please also realize that the hospitals have started to open up again for other types of procedures. There's no
the ones that people have been sitting around waiting for.
And if you come in and you've got something that you have going on, and they're going to test you because we have to, I guess, and we're doing a lot of it. Oh, you're positive. Then you're a case, and if you die, then you're a COVID-19 case.
Wait a minute, you're telling me if you die on the operating table for a bladder operation, a gallbladder operation, you're a COVID death.
Yeah, you know this because that's what's been going on constantly. Retail is returning, and there's a lot of very nervous people. They're all getting tested. I might have been around someone. Oh, everyone get tested. So you're going to find cases, but I'm just not seeing the same death-defying surge that we never saw in the first place in Texas. So it's really odd because I do get emails from health professionals and from their spouses and say, well, yes, emergency rooms are filling up, but it's not clear what they're filling up with. Is it people wheezing and coughing and mucus? No. It's also 93 degrees here. So we'll see, but we're in stage 4 and everyone's being told once again to go home and stay home. And I think that's bad advice. You're at home with the air conditioner on, the windows closed. People should be out. Anyway, just to back up this testing, I think we played the clip on the last show of Trump's stand-up in Tulsa. And he said, no, I told my people, slow down the testing, slow down the testing. Well,
the media made a big fuss about this.
Oh, and it was taken so seriously that we had a question in the House of Representatives as Dr. Fauci was testifying about who God knows what.
All right, now
this is the representative from New Jersey.
All right, now I'm going to have to ask about the president because you talked about testing and how important it is. And Admiral Giroir and I know how important it is. At his rally over the weekend, the president said, and I quote, when you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please, unquote. And this morning he said he meant this. So
I've yet to find a clip where he said he meant this.
I have the clip.
Okay. All right. Shall I finish this one first, or we want to listen to the clip?
No, finish your clips. I got 2 clips on this exact same topic.
Oh, good.
And this morning he said he meant this.
Good.
So, Dr. Fauci, do you
I'm all jitty about it.
agree with that? Does it make sense that to safely...
Good. I don't know. How sad is my life that I'm excited.
You say that. That's what my mother used to say.
Good. I'm excited about a damn clip about Fauci and testing.
And this morning he said he meant this. So, Dr. Fauci, do you agree with that? Does it make sense that to safely open our economy, we should be limiting the number of tests rather than ensuring that anyone who needs a test can get one? And you don't have to mention the president. I did. But tell us about the testing. And
I, as a member of the task force, and my colleagues on the task force, to my knowledge, I know for sure, but to my knowledge, none of us have ever been told to slow down on testing. That just is a fact. In fact, we will be doing more testing, as you've heard from Admiral Giroir, not only testing to specifically identify people in the identify, isolate, and contact trace, but also much more surveillance if you want to get your arms around and understand exactly what's going on in community spread. So it's the opposite. We're going to be doing more testing, not less.
I just think clearly the representative from New Jersey knew it was bull crap. And he says it, well, I guess I have to ask. And you don't have to mention the president. I did. Oh, yeah, I did it. It's waste of time. Vote these people out and get Fauci out of there, too. And his wife. Collusion. Anyway.
Well, this whole testing joke, even though
spun out of
it was just part of his thing. He goes on and I should have that clip, but slow down. You actually, that's the clip we played, but let's play. I got 2 clips on this. This is from NPR, and this is the more testing clip, and this is probably what we're looking for.
Dr. Fauci said the U.S. will conduct more testing, despite President Trump saying at that campaign rally in Tulsa over the weekend that he told his staff to slow the testing down. Today, the president continues his re-election campaign with a visit to Arizona, a place where cases are continuing to surge. The state has been reopening since mid-May when stay-at-home orders expired. Trump is also going to be meeting with local officials and community leaders to discuss border security and survey parts of the U.S.-Mexico border fence in Yuma. Let's bring in KJZZ reporter Kathy Ritchie, who's in Phoenix. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hey. And let's start with the president's visit there today. How are people feeling about it?
I'd say the reaction is probably mixed. He's coming to Arizona as infections are spiking, and he's in Yuma to talk about border issues. Then he'll be in Phoenix at a rally at a church called the Dream City Church, which can hold about 3,000 people. The church has also tweeted about some newly installed technology that kills 99% of COVID within 10 minutes, and that people can go in knowing that when you're there, you'll be safe and protected.
Wait. So you're saying that they have technology that kills 90, or they're saying they have technology. It'd be nice if they shared that with the rest of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Apparently one of the church members developed this technology, and so we'll see if it works.
Cool. Okay. A whole bunch in this one little clip. First, I do not believe it can be both spiking and surging at the same time. It's 2 different waveforms. So make up your mind. Spiking or surging.
This is true.
Yes.
They don't know. The thing is that all these reporters, current generation of reporters, especially the ones with the vocal fry, and this whole group of them, very few of them have ever taken a course in science. Although they promote the idea of everyone should know science and STEM and science, and Trump doesn't know science. We need science because science and global warming and science. But they don't know anything. And they don't know science. They don't even know. They can't even do physics when they drive. They can't figure out their speed limit. So
wait, stop.
So the spiking surge thing.
Wait. What do you mean?
The difference is how far away you have to be from the car ahead of you at the speed limit you're at. It should be a car length.
Yeah.
But to even visualize that is almost impossible if you have no concept of science. So you just tailgate.
Okay, all right.
I don't know how I got off on that, but the point is they don't know a spike from a surge.
No, of course not.
It's the other clip that's got the quote from Trump that proves the quote you're looking for. Asked by the Chinese reporter that they brought in from China. And this is the clip, Fauci surge testing from Democracy Now!
Right now, the next couple of weeks are going to be critical in our ability to address those surgings that we're seeing in Florida, in Texas, in Arizona, and in other states. They're not the only ones that are having a difficulty. Bottom line, Mr. Chairman, it's a mixed bag. Some good and some now we have a problem with.
Dr. Fauci's remarks came as the confirmed U.S. death toll from COVID-19 topped more than 121,000, though he acknowledged the official figure is likely a significant undercount. His testimony came as Trump contradicted claims by his press secretary that he was kidding when he said he'd urged White House officials to slow down coronavirus testing. This is Trump being questioned by CBS's Wei Jiazhang.
Mr. President, at that rally when you said you asked your people to slow down testing, were you just kidding or do you have a plan to slow down testing?
I don't kid. Let me just tell you. Let me make it clear.
In fact, the White House is set to end federal support for coronavirus testing at the end of the month.
Wow. You know, this is very interesting. And she has a piece of information there that I hadn't heard. But he says, I don't kid. That's not answering her question if he was kidding at the time or not. I guess he doesn't like the idea. You know,
he doesn't like that woman for sure.
Well, she sounds like a caricature. That's the best part of her. But no, and then he says, let me just finish the thought. So they play the piece where he says, I don't kid, which has nothing, which could or could not be relevant to what the question was. And says, let me tell you what I meant or what I said. And then they cut it off at that point. That tells you everything you need to know. I mean, the actual facts were coming out of his mouth, what he actually thinks, feels, and whatever he's doing. And they cut that part off and they leave the bullcrap question in. This is not news.
This is the way they cover it.
Let me listen to this clip again.
Were you just kidding or do you have a plan to slow down testing?
I don't kid. Let me just tell you. Let me make it clear.
In fact, the White House is set to end federal support for coronavirus testing at the end of the month. In Texas, lawmakers are warning of catastrophic, cascading consequences if Trump follows through on his plans, which would end diagnostic testing at 7 sites that screen hundreds of people a day.
Are you kidding me now? Catastrophic, cascading consequences? Who did that one? That man deserves a medal. That was genius.
No, that was probably Amy.
No. It came from some smarties in Texas.
Sure? I thought that she just added it to herself.
No, hold on a second. I thought I'm sorry. I just have to play that.
In Texas, lawmakers are warning of catastrophic, cascading consequences.
Lawmakers.
Okay, so it's probably a Texan. So I'm guessing it's a Democrat.
Doesn't matter. It's good. I like it. I mean, that's all the C's I can put your middle name in. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get the joke.
Okay, so where are we now then?
Well, it turns out that everybody's Trump says he's going to be doing this. They take it so seriously, and then someone asks him, he says, I'm not kidding. And, of course, the follow-up question would be, but if you say you're not kidding, but what if you're kidding now?
Yeah, right. Were you just kidding now? Were you kidding about kidding? Come on, man. Were you kidding? Well, all of this is a part of Trump going crazy again.
Oh, Trump's gone off the deep end.
No, not just off the deep end. He's out. He's out of control. Not just out of control according to his friends and people familiar with the friends' matters and thinking. Sources close to the friends' maids, and leading the charge of the deep analysis of what is going on with the 45th president who deserves the 25th Amendment is, of course, Brian Stelzerwater with the apex of journalism, Carl Bernstein, of the Woodward and Bernstein fame of the All the President's Men. What was it? What was the
All
Watergate?
The President's Men.
All the President's Men.
And, of course, Bernstein has only recently shown up after one of his friends must have said to him, if you had gone the way of Woodward, you would be rich because they've been writing all these books for him.
Yeah, and you're an idiot.
You could have been doing that.
You're an idiot. Here we go. Listen to this. You'll like it.
I want to bring in now the legendary Carl Bernstein. Carl, I remember a time not that long ago when a president's moods were not newsworthy, but now they are. Your reaction to this reporting that he's watching, he's erupting, the cycle repeats.
Erupting.
Hold on. Stop the clip.
I'm stopping.
You're gonna have to back it, start it over.
Why?
Did he say, I remember a time when the president moves? When the president something was not every single thing this president has done, even if he says I'm not kidding, is newsworthy, has been newsworthy. That's all they talk about.
His
he's
moods,
saying that
his moods.
His moods have always been newsworthy.
Yes.
It's on the Trump list.
That's what I'm saying, but that's what he said, his moods.
So he's so he's doing a hard reset is what he's doing on the discussion.
Yes, exactly. Go to line 1. That's right. Go back up to the top and start with moods. Yes. Maybe it's... Let's listen again. Maybe it was moods. I don't know.
I want to bring in now the legendary Carl Bernstein. Carl, I remember a time not that long ago when a president's moods were not newsworthy.
Moods.
But now...
We're not newsworthy. We're not newsworthy, he said.
When was this time?
It is number 1 on the Trump rotation list. Anyway, so yeah, get ready for the 25th Amendment, and Stelterwater doesn't remember it.
I want to bring in now the legendary Carl Bernstein. Carl, I remember a time not that long ago when a president's moods were not newsworthy, but now they are. Your reaction to this reporting that he's watching, he's erupting, the cycle repeats and repeats.
I think the big underlying story about Donald Trump in many regards are his moods and what his closest advisors, his former chiefs of staff, his former national security advisors, McMaster, General Kelly, Secretary Mattis, all concluded that he's unstable, that he acts in an authoritarian way. His authoritarian impulses come into play, particularly as a result of his moods, and it's all one story. His moods, his physical health, which we don't know about either because of his visit to Walter Reed Hospital earlier in the year that has been covered up, and why he went there. Looking at the president's mental state, especially what his friends are seeing now, and they're very concerned about his conduct.
Very
concerned. He's out of control.
Out of control.
Some of those I've talked to, that's their words, out of control. This is a danger.
Wait, let's listen to that again. So now it's his friends. I don't know who Trump's friends are, but now it's his friends who are saying, "Oh no, it's out of control." Carl Bernstein. Listen, I got news. He's out of control.
What his friends are seeing now, and are very concerned about his conduct. They say he's out of control. Some of those I've talked to, that's their words, out of control. This is a danger to our security in this country if indeed the president is unstable.
The man who uncovered Watergate, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the depths he's willing to stoop to. Pathetic. But it wasn't over there. Stelterwater had to be even dumber. And this was just an eye roller from beginning to end.
And there are different examples on different fronts. Let me ask the control room to pull up a list that we've made this week. It's about a minute long, but the point is the length. This takes a while just to go through all the examples of unhinged or inaccurate comments from the president this week. Among many, he threatened to protest.
Okay, so you understand what this is. This is kind of one of those how many lies the president has told, except now the list is... Just listen to this list, which is a minute. It's so long. It'll take me a minute to read this list of all the proof the president is unhinged.
Unhinged or inaccurate comments from the president this week. Among many, he threatened protesters ahead of the Tulsa rally. He offered help taking back Seattle, which doesn't need the help. He's
unhinged. changed.
Said he made Juneteenth very famous because nobody had ever heard of it before he scheduled his rally on that day. That's insulting, of course, to tens of millions of people who knew all about the holiday. He evidently didn't know that the White House had put out an annual statement about the holiday. He said nobody ever put tariffs on China. There's been tariffs for centuries.
500 years of tariffs.
He attacked John Bolton, who he hired as a wacko and as a weirdo and a sick puppy. He said Bolton disagreed with the China travel restrictions, but Bolton wasn't in the White House anymore. He said coronavirus is dying out when it's not. He claimed that COVID testing is overrated and a double-edged sword because it makes us look bad. He said polls that show Biden winning are suppression polls. He tweeted out a photo of a Biden rally, which was not a rally at all. He was so troubled by critics who made fun of his walking that he defended his walking at length, and you can see the rest of the list there. Carl, my point is, how is the press supposed to convey all of this when, you can barely read the size of the font, and it takes time to get through just all of the falsehoods that came up in a single week?
I'm clutching my pearls. How do we cover all of this horrific stuff? There was just not enough time in the day, Mr. Bernstein.
Wow.
What is wrong? I mean, this must tell you that it's not healthy to watch this stuff because the people who are making it are not healthy. Sources familiar with their friends say. I spoke to some of them myself.
Yeah, under what circumstance?
Now, that's not... I just love it, though. I love it. This is... Now it's entertainment, and I'm very pleased. As is one of the most recent council meetings in Palm County, Florida, where, if you ever want to you say, hey, you should check out this podcast, No Agenda. It's a good way to promote it. Well, what's it about? Well, I don't know, but here's one of their listeners.
You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. And we the people are waking up, and we know what citizen's arrest is because citizen's arrests are already happening, okay? And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm going to say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. Okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We got to get scanned. We got to get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now, because none of you know what the hell you are all talking about. This is insane. And then you want to open this meeting with a prayer to God. Are you praying to the devil? Because God is not listening to that prayer, because all of you are practicing the devil's laws. What happened to Bill Gates? Why is he not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton not in jail? Why are all of these pedophiles that are demanding you all to listen to their rules? Why are they not in jail? Oh, is it because you're part of them? Are you part of the deep state?
Time has expired.
The deep state is going down. And if any of you are in the deep state, you're going down with it.
Well, hold on a second. The one thing it's hard not to hear, which is AOC's voice.
Yes, and literally.
She has AOC's voice, so there's a milieu. Or where does that voice come from then?
I don't know.
She sounded, when she started off, as there's got to be some...
She's angry.
Maybe it's just the angry voice that causes that sound.
Now, apparently, there were a lot of people like this at this meeting, so I didn't have time to find it.
Go Florida.
I didn't have time to find it. But yes, I mean, even if sometimes you just feel like you just want to talk that way to people of authority. And I understand that too. Hey, you with your smug behind your mask, you're going to hell. Absolutely. You go, lady. Yes, go Florida. I'm all for it.
Go Florida.
What do we got to? And this is the best part. The first vaccine trials for COVID-19 are now underway, human trial. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud as a white man from the western part of the world to let you know that we here are testing this first vaccine on humans in Africa. Yeah. Risk factor 0, baby. Go for it. Mm-hmm. Does anyone see how sick this is?
I do.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right. South Africa. Beautiful. 106, let me see, how many are they going to do? They're going to do a shitload of them. All right.
How many are they going to kill? Did they have a number yet?
How many are we going to hear about? Yeah. And I know there's a lot of Africans looking really scared. Uh-oh, here comes Dr. Bill with his syringe again. We know what happened last time when he was here with his other friend, Bill. Remember that? Wasn't it the Indian vaccines that killed a whole bunch of kids?
There was both in India and Africa. There's apparently a lot of problems.
Yeah, but I think it was it manufactured in India?
Oh, yes,
something
I think
like
so.
That. Yeah, something
India's
like that.
doing most of the good, heavy lifting.
Phew. Man, that was
well,
actually.
when you talk about the vaccine, you know, Biden's on top of it. I do have a clip of Biden ruminating on the vaccine.
Oh, he's on top of it? I can't wait to hear it.
When, God willing, we get this vaccine, how will it be distributed?
Vaseline.
Stop now. I knew I shouldn't have had those edibles before the show. Vaxeline? Are you kidding me?
Vaxeline.
Wait a minute. Stop this show. Let's see. How would you spell that? Vaxeline.
Like Vaseline with a Z.
So how about VAX? Vax. Wasn't it Vaxeline?
I'm sorry, with an X.
VOXO. Vaxeline. Vaxeline. Okay, Vaxeline.com. Registered. Got it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. For once, I'm going to hide my contact information for an additional $3. Okay. Back to the Vaxeline.
When, God willing, we get this vaccine, how will it be distributed? Where will it go? How will it get there? How will we guarantee that it will be able to be distributed in a way that all Americans have equal access to it? Because the same thing's going to happen. Let's, God willing, we get a vaccine. Maybe one, if God was great, maybe even in the fall.
Wait a minute. What did he say? Was he praying to God not to have a vaccine?
At one point he says the only thing that can save us is getting a vaccine from a vaccine. I don't know what he was saying. He's a maniac.
Let's listen one more time just for me.
When, God willing, we get this vaccine, how will it be distributed? Where will it go? How will it get there? How will we guarantee that it will be able to be distributed in a way that all Americans have equal access to it? Because the same thing's going to happen. Let's, God willing, we get a vaccine. Maybe one, if God was great, maybe even in the fall.
I'm crying. Oh, man, you just nailed it. This is so good. Clip of the day. If God was great, he'd make Vaxeline to save us from the evil vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States of America. Does anyone else see that we are a big joke? Oh, my goodness.
None of the Democrats, that's for sure.
Oh, man.
And a lot of Republicans. I'll put them in the same pot.
Yeah, well, it's all of them. What is going on? It just seems like everybody is afraid. Well, of course, it's an election year, so there are a lot of people who are really afraid. And they have good right to be afraid because you know about the big Trump October surprise, secret weapon. Did you hear about the secret weapon?
I'm all ears.
Yep, he's got a secret weapon, and I found this information out, of course, not on the news channels, but on a podcast. And in this case, former Mayor Rudolph Giuliani's podcast, which is just it's a cornucopia of information. There's so much you can get from these boobs and boneheads who just, they forget that it's, people listen. Anyway, Brad Parscale, who is the president's campaign manager for this election, and of course, do you know his story? This guy's an interesting story. He was doing stuff for like Ivanka's clothing brand, just web stuff. I think he lives in Pennsylvania. And I just had a little one-man, two-man shop. You know, he'd farm out some graphics work, and he'd build a website, and then he would do something for some, Trump steaks or whatever. And then the president said, "Hey, I want you to make something for my election campaign." So this is back in 2014, 2015. And so he made something, and that's how he came in. And then all of a sudden, he was doing the whole digital campaign, and now he's running the whole election campaign. That's an interesting story. Because he's a zero political background. Anyway, he has a secret weapon.
You know me. I'm not going to sit around and just accept the media's victory. That. So we've spent the last 3 years building some new technology we have not revealed yet. I'm not going to reveal it here because it's a secret, but next time I see you alone, I'll talk to you about it. But we have a way. We're going to converse with 100 million Americans that we need to get out to vote directly, without the media in the middle, without social media in the middle. We have a way to do that. That's been unprecedented in American history, and when we turn that engine on, we're going to be able to deliver votes and bring a GOTV, get out the vote effort that's never been seen in American history. Because I understand the media is going to do everything they can, from suppression polls to everything else they can, to try to convince our people not to get out a vote. And there's over 100 million Americans that love this president that can get out the vote, and we don't need all of them to show up. But if all of them do, we're going to see one of the biggest landslide victories in American history.
What could this secret technology be?
Robots.
Come on, let's think.
Skynet.
Let's think seriously about that. What? Now, Parscale is not a typical bullshitter, and I use that term specifically. At least I've never really caught him on it, and he's been very open and honest about the things they've done, and it seems pretty simple. So what have they come up with? Let me hear here's description.
You know
again.
me. I'm not going to sit around and just accept the media's victory. So we've spent the last 3 years building some new technology we have not revealed yet.
We spent the last 3 years building some new technology we have not revealed yet.
I'm not going to reveal it here because it's a secret, but
I'm not going to go here because it's secret. Okay, bullcrap. That's bullcrap. All right, fine.
Next time I see you alone, I'll talk to you about it. Yeah. But we have a way. We're going to converse with 100 million Americans.
We have a way to converse with 100 million Americans.
That we need to get out to vote directly, without the media in the middle, without
the media,
social media in the middle.
We
have a way to do that. That's been unprecedented in American history.
Unprecedented. So this is the part that bothers me. Unprecedented in American history.
And when we turn that engine on, we're going to be able to deliver votes and bring a GOTV, get out the vote effort that's never been seen in American history.
Mastodon server. What could it be? I'm so curious now.
Well, I didn't hear this, so I'm flat-footed here. I don't know that. You can't really. The funny thing is, when you work in technology in any way, whether you're writing about it or you're in the business, there's one thing that's kind of a given. Nobody does anything secretly without somebody else knowing about it. There's nothing you can't.
For sure.
It's like a farming community. I've always described it as a farming community. People always either gossiping over the fence or somebody putting two and two together. You used to be able, for example, you could always tell what Apple or any computer companies, what their sales were if they were trying to keep them from you by just finding out, looking at their components that were in the product and going to the component maker and asking them. And they'll tell you. Hard disk guys were notorious for telling you everything they knew because they had nothing else to do. They had nobody to talk to. So there's no secret thing you can be doing that is not somebody else knowing about or doing themselves or copying it. It's just not possible.
That's an interesting way to lead into a completely different topic, which would be the CCP. And I'm just honing my skills here, trying to figure out
your segue skills.
Those will always suck. The skills I'm looking at, what do I know about China? It's like, in fact, what I do remember is when Christina was growing up, a lot of other parents would tell me, they got to get these kids, like, the best thing is for them to learn how to speak Mandarin. Speak Mandarin. That's the future. And I'm sure that at all these institutions, and this is before she decided to lead a life of debauchery like her dad, I'm sure that these institutions were, there were spies in there already pushing it. You know what I mean? It's like this, the educational system is...
Yeah, there was something I ran into the other day that goes back. Oh, one of our producers sent me some note about something that was going on in one of the schools in the computer science department. I wish I had the note in front of me, saying that they'd moved all these Chinese Mandarin-speaking Chinese into computer science in this school in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And they cheated. They were cheaters. They would talk to each other in Mandarin during the class. Nobody seemed to care. And then they all became kind of associate professors in computer science, even though they were no good. And and he said this was in 1995.
Yeah. Oh, this started in the 90s, and so I found an interview
with Clinton. Yeah, Clinton is the guy who started it.
Yes, it started with Clinton, and I found someone from that era who I've really ignored. I ignore most politicians, but Marsha Blackburn is the senator from Tennessee. She's a Republican. But she has a long history with the Chinese and fighting the Chinese, and she has some interesting things to say. And I pulled a few clips from this interview, but this goes right to what you're saying about copying and all of getting all of the pieces and figuring out what companies are putting together. There's no real secrets, and a lot of what she says is so like, oh shit, yeah, that was in our face for decades, and we all laughed about it. But, here's the result as she strings it all together, connecting the dots.
In Tennessee, we have the entertainment industry. And going back into the mid-90s when we were moving from analog to digital, transmission and production in the entertainment space, we began having problems here with China infringing on entertainment content. We saw the same thing happening in the fashion industry. People began to see these little kiosks pop up on city streets, and they were selling knockoffs of designer bags and scarves and hats and belts, and people would patronize those. Well, all of that is trademark infringement, and that was kind of how China got going on much of this intellectual property theft. Then, as I went to Congress in 2003, I started the Songwriters Caucus, and it was there to teach about the importance of intellectual property protections for American innovators and entertainers in the global marketplace. And we started to see these copycat items, whether it was in auto parts or aftermarket auto parts or guitars from Gibson Guitar, or any host of other things. Then it became computers and chips, and then what'd you get into next? Pharmaceuticals. So this is a long-term China problem. What we have learned through the past several decades is China will lie to you. They will steal from you. And if you catch them, they're going to try to cheat you.
They're going to try to cheat you. Now,
this came up before you. I want to mention one little thing along these same lines. This came up at the dinner table conversation because Eric has dealings with China, and he got screwed by one vendor once, and he's got another vendor, which is the one that does the rings for the No Agenda show. Mm-hmm. And you can get rings done here, but most of them, whoever you go to here, it goes to the same guys in China, so it's a real problem, which is a problem with China.
Making rings is a problem, yeah.
But the one thing I knew for years, both the Chinese and to a lesser extent the Japanese, to do business with them, you have to make long-term friendships. Mm. And you'd have to do business for years and years and years before you get the best deals, before anything, because nobody. And the reason for this is because in China itself, you have to do that. Because in China itself, they don't trust each other, because what she said is true. There are a bunch of cheaters, not all of them. That's the point. It's not every Chinese in China. Every business in China is a bunch of criminals, or they're trying to rip you off. It's that the country's so big, and there are so many companies over there that a lot of them will be trying to rip you off. Right. So you have to make a long-term relationship with your vendor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way the Chinese do business, the way we have to do business. But just going at it willy-nilly, you're going to get screwed because there's no way that's just what's going to happen because it's the culture.
My comment is I feel complicit, especially living in New York City, in Hell's Kitchen in the late 80s, early 90s. And we had Canal Street, and it was fantastic. And people would come in from Europe, and I said, "Let me blow your mind. You go to Canal Street, and you buy some Gucci shit, buy some Rolexes. Here, hang out." And then, back then, a lot of those knockoffs were a little better. Some of them were actually quite good, but they always had some telltale stuff. But it was great. And
I had a collection of these, and I got into it to the extreme that I could tell people if they had a counterfeit. But I had this one. My thing was the problem with these counterfeits is that we were talking about Rolexes mostly, but they had everything. There was all kinds of quality products. They had one guy was selling Movado copies,
mm-hmm.
and some Chinese vendor had made a Movado that was we're talking about the museum watch. They had made one that was silver with a navy blue back and a silver ball in the middle and silver pointy thingies, whatever you call them.
Yeah, pointy thingies.
The things that go around the clock.
Yeah.
Hands. And it was so pointy thingies. So I bought.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was funny.
Trying to get through the story.
Yeah.
So I bought this thing. It was $19, and it had no secondhand because Movados don't have that, so you don't have the jerky looking secondhand that gives these watches away. And Movado never made this watch. They never made a watch that even.
I know they had a Cartier tank watch which had like a blue stone that never existed. That was the best part. That was the best. No,
this is what you'd go for because if you're a smart collector,
exactly, you get something.
You
cool.
collect these watches that never existed in reality. But they did make some watches. They did have a secondhand sweep movement that was a self-winding Rolex. It cost a lot more than the $15 you'd normally pay. You had to pay like $45-50 for one of these. But what I got for myself during this era where everyone's wearing a Rolex is I got myself a silver one with a blue background, and it was a silver watch, not a gold one, because I'm a writer. Do I look like I'm walking around with a gold Rolex? I'd have to be a
podfather. You have to be a podfather.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Now, and so, but with the sweep secondhand, a nice secondhand, and a silver Rolex, which would normally cost about $1,400, for in this case $50, with a good movement, it's believable. I could own that watch. And so I'm complicit, too, because I bought one of those, and I wore it around as though I owned it, as though I owned a Rolex. It's bullcrap.
You, my friend, are a baller. That's what you are.
Baller.
Baller.
Yeah. But yes, everyone who bought the fake bags and the fake...
Right, so here's the complicit part.
Fake pens.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad about that. And, of course, at a certain point... I know I had a truck and someone said, well, I have this part, but I got these parts that say that part, but it's a little cheaper because it's from China. I put it on. And so really I've been complicit out of greed. And
no, not out of greed. I don't think it was greed. I'm not going to buy a Rolex anyway, so they didn't lose any money on me.
Well, that's always the argument, but it's more about...
What? No, it's also an argument. I'm not going to pay that kind of money for stuff that I can get for... I mean, if China can undercut you by 1,000%, it's just that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, ultimately,
it's a market after all.
Yes, and ultimately, the market should have been protected by our lawmakers. But I suspect that starting in the 90s with the Clintons, I suspect that the corruption set in, and all these people who are so quiet about everything right now is because they're all part of the game. They're in on it. Sports, entertainment, finance, retail. Shit, man. They're everywhere. Now, let me continue with Blackburn. So here's the problem. and this is part of the obvious, which is with COVID-19, with coronavirus, novel coronavirus, and where stuff is made, personal protection equipment, where pharmaceuticals come from, where the base materials are, where pharmaceuticals come from. Blackburn is also on this.
They had this pandemic on their hands for 51 days before they told the rest of the world. During that 51 days, what were they busy doing? They were busy stockpiling PPE so that they could up the price and sell it to other nations. Then how did they leverage having that PPE? It's like what they did to France. They said, okay, by the way, you need PPE. We've got it. And if you will take Huawei as your telecommunication system, we will sell you PPE. Of course, we don't want our allies to use Huawei because Huawei is the underpinning for what China is using to build a spy network. Sometimes I look at this relationship with China and I say, how did we get here? And who could ever make this kind of story up because of all of the tangled web that they have woven? And interestingly enough, they've done it now, not only with us, but with the rest of with 180 nations around the globe.
Did we know about this extortion with France?
I don't believe we reported on it, no. But of course, it's hard to with our news media because they don't cover anything that's even remotely
anti-CCP or anti-CCP for that matter. Would never want to do that.
That's for sure.
But she's a serious lawmaker, and she does have a book, an act on the books, the Stop COVID Act, and it's a familiar theme, one that we know does work and could have some very interesting implications.
The Stop COVID Act is legislation that would give U.S. citizens that have been adversely impacted by COVID-19 the ability to have their day in court, to sue the Chinese Communist Party, and to seek a form of restitution from them. What we are doing, the way we're doing this, is through the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act and identifying COVID-19 as a biological agent. And this is the same type and structure of legislation and the same U.S. code that was used for the 9/11 families and the Beirut bombing families. And they were able to seek that restitution. So what we're doing is modeling our work on that work so that there is precedent for this. But this does allow U.S. citizens to take the Chinese Communist Party to court.
So I think what that means is similar to the court case against Saudi Arabia. Now, or if this passes, if it's even voted on, it's in the process somewhere, but in committee. Then families could sue the CCP or I guess the CCP, and with the benefit of any assets in the United States or within our grasp with our mighty financial. It's a lot of shit we can put our fingers on. Then we can grab that and take it and give it to people who win lawsuits against the CCP.
Yeah, this is a story that is somewhat, I would call, suppressed.
You think?
Because the Chinese don't want anyone knowing about that this is going on because they're going to try to quash this bill. This has been going. This is not the only one. I think there's two of these floating around.
That would make sense.
Blackburn's one of them.
Would make sense.
And so you don't want to talk about this, and it hasn't been talked about in the media. They talk about Trump and his offhanded remark that he's going to tell these people to stop testing.
Right.
And that's more important.
and his mood is much more important.
With Carl Bernstein, the big investigative reporter, coming out and bitching about Trump instead of talking about this situation, which is a lot more important for everybody.
Yeah.
No. Yes. It's got a shot. They've done it. This is probably part of the reason. I have to finish this essay I was starting on the origins of the virus. This is probably part of the reason that they don't want anyone even thinking that this virus came out of the lab in China, because that would make them even more complicit.
Well, then pretty much everybody can sue. You know, it's like, I've been affected. I'm sure I can find some way I've been affected. Emotional distress. You know, there's lots of ways, but most people directly financially.
Yeah.
So,
financially, this could be a bonanza.
Yeah, and there's lots of stuff we can grab from.
I'm surprised Trump hasn't harped on this.
Half the buildings in America of any merit are owned by Chinese companies or front companies for the CCP. That's the easiest to repossess. Whoop. Make everybody owners of their shit. All right, well, now we just nationalized it.
Well, it's not technically nationalized.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, just grabbed.
Grabbed, yeah.
Land grab.
So, yeah, okay.
Money grab.
So I'm on the lookout for more stories about that, obviously. Who knows? I don't know what, what pressure she's going to run into.
What everyone should be on the lookout for is stories about people pushing back on it. Those are the agents provocateurs. Those are the bad people.
The baddies, yes. So I found a different interview by this Italian guy, Francesco Gaglietti. And he's written a book, which I think is being translated into English. So I haven't read the book, but it's Red Contagion. And it's about Chinese using Italy basically as the landing spot for the CCP's Trojan horse in the West, which is interesting to me because where did we see a lot of people dying and the biggest epicenter of coronavirus was in northern Italy. And we know some things about the Belt and Road strategy being on there, but he's written a book about it. I thought it'd just be interesting to get a little more insight because one of our favorite people is involved in this, according to him. But here he is talking about what the CCP is doing.
Italy lies across fault lines, north, south, east, west. But nevertheless, it's always been a part of the West. It's even been the cradle of the West. So seeing it drift towards Asia, and especially towards authoritarian China, is a nightmare. And Italy has a very fragile and corrupt political system, which is heavily exposed to China's charm offensive. And what Italy has that no one else has is the presence of the Vatican on Italian soil. And so these days, the Vatican, which is hugely influential in the Italian political system, is tilted toward China. It wants a deal with China, and it is offering Italy to entice China. So what we have at the pinnacle of the Italian political system is Catholics. Our head of state is a leftist Catholic. Our prime minister is a leftist Catholic. These people use the Vatican as a compass, as a geopolitical compass. And these days, that compass tells you Xi Jinping and CCP. As a consequence, the clout of China in Italy is gigantic. What we see in popularity ratings, in surveys, is that a vast majority of Italians want neutrality, and that many of them, if a war between China and the US begins, would side with China. This is extremely worrying, and I blame it partly or largely on the Pope.
Okay, so this is where this guy got my interest.
This is a great clip.
This is where this guy got my interest. I'm like, wait a minute. If war broke out between America and China, a lot of Italians would be like, fuck it, we're for China? Because
Thanks to the Pope.
Because of the Pope?
This Pope is a problem.
Well, so this warranted a little further, here's just a little bit more from him on the Pope. The political corruption, because of course this is all happening in the North, where they have the I think it's the Northern League or whatever their party is up there. But also the 5-star movement it's all sympathetic to China. It's a mess, and this starts to lead back to my beginnings of the understanding of the rift that has occurred in the church itself. And we're seeing that in America. Our producers are telling us about it. It is kind of it seems to be also along political lines, leftist, rightist, socialist, conservative. And this Pope seems to be on the Chinese side. Here, this is, again, another
He's
part.
a socialist. He's a communist.
Here you go.
Of course, there is corruption involved. We have already evidence of also civil servants reaching out for money. We had a gigantic scandal at the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs with a senior Italian diplomat put under criminal investigation for trading secrets with China. So that's probably the tip of the iceberg. We'll just have to wait and see how many other cases exist. But yes, money is a big part of that. As you put it brutally, Italians are driven by that and haven't seen much of it coming from the other side of the Atlantic for a while, and China has been throwing money at whatever moves. So yes, money is a main driver, and the Vatican is another big driver. But this Pope is anti-American, and I also think that he is penetrating the Chinese religious market, even if it comes at a huge cost, is a move to have a first mover advantage vis-a-vis the evangelicals. He clearly hates Protestants and evangelicals, which he considers proxies of the U.S. Let's not forget, this Pope is not a friend of the U.S., for sure.
The Pope hates us. This is great.
This would make sense. He came from, was it Argentina?
South America, yeah. And of course, and this is how I got into the whole conversation with a couple of our producers, is that he's a Jesuit, which not always, but it is considered to be the New World Order bunch. The New World Order bunch. The New World Order bunch.
Well, his formative years would have been in South America, would have been during probably the Nixon administration, where the American go home. The penetration of the socialists down there were pretty complete, and they were throwing tomatoes at anybody who would try to go down there and visit. I mean, I believe Nixon was actually rousted and had to leave.
Rousted? Nixon, the president, was rousted?
Yeah, I think he went down to visit, and there were so many protests and people so angry to get rid of him. I forgot what the slogans were, but there were a bunch of these slogans. Like today, it's not that much different. But there's a lot of sloganeering is about Yankee go home. That was the main one.
Yes, Yankee
go home. American businesses have never, like they have in Europe and even in Asia, made as much penetration into, like, for example, you go to a mall in Brazil, there's probably not one. You won't see a Pizza Hut or anything like that. There's no McDonald's down there. I've never seen one.
Oh, they don't know what they're missing.
It's just not the same as even when you go to Korea or Asia or I mean Asia, by Asia I mean China. When you go to China, you see a lot of American franchises there.
Yeah,
you see American franchises in the Middle East. You see them in France.
Sure.
South America, you don't see them hardly anywhere.
Huh. So a lot of
I'm sure they're there. By the way, I don't want any notes. Yes, there's a McDonald's in Sao Paulo. Somewhere.
Yeah,
well,
don't worry. They'll send them to me anyway. It doesn't matter.
Good. This is where they go. Adam at Curry.com.
No, John at
He covers my ass.
John at
He's the best guy.
Dvorak.org.
Dvorak's too hard to spell.
So a lot of this, I know. That's the sad part. People always lie. It was impossible to find John's email address. No, you didn't know how to spell Dvorak. Just admit it. You gave up. A lot of the problems started, according to the people I've been in contact with the resignation of Pope Benedict. In 2013, this had never happened. And the Pope doesn't resign.
Threw his arms up. He gave up.
Yeah. And then it just became totally weird. So there's something going on. And a lot of people looking at this as, the ultimate struggle between good and evil. With the real devil stuff. Ugh.
Well, we knew that this Pope didn't like us, but it really got exacerbated by Trump because he just detests Trump. He's a Trump hater.
Yeah.
He's a never Trumper.
He is.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a bunch of crazy other things going on along these same lines. It's something we have to discuss more.
What do you mean? The religious stuff? The religious lines?
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Well, the big rift, the big eye-opener, from what I understand, the big eye-opener was during the lockdown, no church. And but also not even going to a gathering. You stay in the car. I mean, there was all kinds of alternatives.
They had the drive-in church. They got
busted too. Yeah, and this was
why you're in a drive-in church.
So this is fundamental stuff to people, really fundamental. And when people throw up the hand and say, "Oh well, I'll do it maybe next week," that was seen as a driving, or it is a driving wedge. Same with pro-choice, pro-life. A lot of those lines divides people more. I think much more than you and I realize, because we're just not. We're
not activists.
We're not activists. But now, speaking of the activists, I have a question because I don't understand something. So right now, playing out Black Lives Matter, and although Black trans lives seem to matter a little bit more. Okay, Black Lives Matter. And I'm reading this article in the City Journal about San Francisco. And to help with the homeless problem, San Francisco has designated frontline worker housing hotels. And these are medium to quite upscale hotels that the city actually pays an average about $200 a night to rent from the owners, which I guess the owners are happy that they've got something going on.
Not all of them.
Well, no, because I'm seeing that for somehow some language trick, FLWH, frontline worker housing, means homeless people. And so there's now homeless people or people who are experiencing homelessness, people who are grifters, drug addicts, all kinds of issues, roaming these hotels, and it's a mess. And they're getting $200 a night hotel rooms. How does Black Lives matter if this is the prioritization?
That city is such a joke that I don't know why anybody ever booked a convention there. I mean, it's just, I don't know what's going on. I know a lot of the major hotels, the big chains, refuse to take part in this program. And even though they're by law supposed to, because they create some, but they said, no, you can sue us. We got plenty of money. You can sue us, and you want to waste your money, you can do it. And so they just shuttered. Because they know what a mess it's going to make, and it's going to give their hotels a bad reputation because who was in this room before I was, kind of thing.
So
it's just
the journalist was at Nob Hill Hotel. Here you go.
No, they're not part of a major chain. They can't afford to do anything but say yes.
Right. What's the name of this? The Mark Hopkins Hotel. It has a lobby.
Yeah, the Mark Hopkins.
You know this hotel?
Well, the Mark Hopkins is a famous hotel across the streets from the Fairmont.
Oh, I'm glad I picked this one.
I don't think the Fairmont's taking place, but I think the Mark Hopkins gave in.
I'm glad I picked this one from the story. Here's the journalist, who I guess is in the lobby trying to figure out what's going on. Do I look scary to you? I'm doing the acting. Hope you notice. Do I look scary to you? The man demanded. They're trying to evict me because I wanted more towels, but I'm homeless. They called the cops on me. He dashed out the door around the grand circular entrance where two police
You got to send me this story.
Where two police officers attempted to resolve the situation. Soon a cab pulled up and an inebriated couple emerged holding full plastic trash bags. They fought, screaming at each other until the woman entered the lobby and her partner lit a meth pipe in the garage area. More frontline workers. This is a good article.
Where did this run?
This is the City Journal. I have no idea what that is.
Of course, it's not any of the normal papers.
No. It's titled here from the the section in the paper known as "Eye on the News." This is so sad. I'm living in the RoboCop future. Eye on the News. Accommodating dysfunction. San Francisco's plan to put homeless people in hotels and motels is not going well. Subtle, very subtle. Rooms are rented at close to $200 per night.
By the way,
listen to this. Go ahead.
I was going to say that we have 3 or 4 major news operations we have TV news operations. We've got Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 2. That's 5. Yeah. And these all have their own set of reports. Nobody is doing anything on this.
Oh, no, of course not. Of course not. The hotels, I'll just read a little more because this is a good story. The hotels were pressured into accepting the homeless guests, though they were also eager for the chance to recoup some revenue lost to the COVID-19 lockdowns. Rooms are rented at close to $200 per night, totaling $6,000 a month. It's like, and the occupancy is full. It's full time. It's full blast. It's not like you got people checking out. That is nearly double the cost of a private 1-bedroom apartment in San Francisco. The city-sponsored guests also receive personal grooming, sanitary, and cleaning supplies, 3 delivered meals, and fuck podcasting. I'm moving to San Francisco. Tina, get your backpack. Shh. Contracts last between 90 days and 2 years. By that point, the guests may be able to claim de facto permanent residence. Wow. That's pretty amazing.
Yes, I'd say. But that's what they do in the city. I mean, this is the same city that has, they have the limit on you can't even arrest or stop anyone for stealing anything under $1,000.
Right.
So shoplifting has just got to control. Nobody knows quite what to do about it. They can have their own little guards there, and maybe they put a little bit of at least roust people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the city with the poop map. It's also the city with the broken windows. You have a car and you park in the wrong part of town, and people crack. They've got these little hammers. They break your window and grab whatever they can find inside the car. And so the city district attorney, who's a leftist, says, "Well, we don't really want. This is not priority. It's not murder. So the city will reimburse you for your window breakage."
Yeah,
and it's just crazy.
So I was trying to get to Black Lives Matter from Homeless Lives Matter more. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, seriously. Yeah. I mean, you have very, very poor people, many of them black, of skin color. Put them up in the apartments.
No,
especially if they got
blacks in there. Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah. Anyway,
that's another depressing topic.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me. All right. Well, let's lighten it up. Let's lighten the mood a little bit as. We found out after sending 15 FBI agents to investigate the NASCAR noose scandal, Noosegate. It is always good to reflect back on how this began, which is very unclear to me. It started not by Bubba Wallace, the driver himself, finding the noose, but apparently some official who then, I think,
some millennial, some Karen.
Do you think? I mean, I don't know. I'd like to know who started this. And unfortunately, I feel that it led to Bubba Wallace getting swallowed up by Black Lives Matter and really getting a little bit of Smollett juice on him. Because when you go on The View to talk about this stuff, no. Then I don't, it's like,
do yourself a favor and don't go on The View.
So, well, here's the media who, of course, embedded the terror or they just regurgitate, but they bring back the imagery. They try to make you feel bad. And oh my God, can you believe it? And of course, we all know NASCAR, bunch of redneck racist pricks.
Disturbing discovery. A noose found in the garage stall of Bubba Wallace.
The disturbing backlash to Bubba Wallace's effort to show fans that Black lives matter.
He's dealing with a symbol of hatred off the track.
Then, sadly, a noose was found.
This is after someone put a noose in Wallace's garage.
These are overt and egregious acts of extreme racism.
It's very stunning, shocking, appalling, disgusting reminder of who, again, this sport is for.
I mean, that this happens the year 2020 is just beyond belief.
More on this horrific incident. Very dark moment. Abhorrent, racist act.
The act that sickened the sports world.
Abby, look forward to having you back when they find out who the coward is who committed that heinous act at Talladega.
Banning from the sport may be as or more impactful than a criminal prosecution.
That's the least of what's going to happen to them, I imagine.
A dreadful turn.
Some people are suggesting that this is a hoax.
I find the reaction incredibly infuriating.
Yeah, okay. So that's what you get pummeled with when this takes place. And, you know, the fact that 15 FBI agents had to come down, this can only be a strategy of tension. This is some ratcheting up for some reason. And it's really disgusting. And somehow the government is complicit. Why? Why 15? Is it really true? Did 15 FBI agents really come down? I mean, I don't know if it's true. Did we have someone write that up? Why is it being reported? Like, this is the most important thing in the world. What's going on? This is to mess everybody up. Don't you think?
Well, this is reminiscent of it. They almost tried to pull this stunt in Oakland when they found some nooses in the Lake Merritt area. And
it turned out there was an exercise.
It was an exercise thing, and it was set up by a black guy.
Damn it.
And so the noose thing, which apparently a bunch of these garages had, it wasn't a noose at all. It was a rope pull for the garage door. Mm-hmm. And apparently this is not a new the way it was. It wasn't even a noose. And nooses have a certain quality about them. They have a certain look. It's not. It's like it was a.
Let me just hear that again. A good noose has a certain quality.
I never said that. I never said a good noose.
I know.
I said a noose per se is something that has a certain look to it.
Right. And, of course it does.
And it's not anything with a loop. Like in the Lake Merritt thing, there were these loops. There were nooses, and they were made out of bungee cords.
No, isn't the noose supposed to have a certain number of twists in the knot?
I don't know the details. Yeah. You might.
No, I'm not sure. I always heard like it's supposed to be 13. That knot has because from the old days a noose, the knot was supposed to help break the neck. No. I'm talking the French days. I'm not talking slave
That's
days.
where they had to invent the guillotine.
Yeah, it was no good. Noose was outdated technology. Anyway, the point is that if you are looking to, if you're a hammer, everything's going to look like a nail. I know it's a cliche, but it's there for a reason. So if you are thinking racist thoughts all day long, you're going to see everything as racism. And if the news media is, and this is not the first time, it's the Jussie Smollett, they were crying over this horrific
event. The Jussie Smollett thing was the worst case scenario.
But we've had many other examples of this. And then the Covington High School kids. If you're a racist, if you have racist thoughts, if you think racially, then you will see the world. You can easily see the world a little bit differently, and that is at the core. And I don't know what to do about it. People are just going to see things differently. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And stop. And then 15 FBI agents, come on. What kind of operation is going on here? To make us all feel like idiots and frustrated? Because it's going to work.
Well, I think that's already worked.
Yeah.
I mean, you ought to just it's like my neighbors, the ones that are holed up, next to two doctors.
Almost dead, the two.
Almost dead. They're almost, in fact, they could They actually,
could keel over at any moment.
They could both be dead as we speak.
They could just be rotting in the house
until
next
it starts
door.
to smell.
You wouldn't even know.
Going to know.
Well, and there's this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They're afraid of their own shadows. People are out there, and you see it. Like the story I didn't get to tell. I don't remember telling it, but this is one of those stories where I had a delivery from K&L Wines because I had a bunch of wines backed up, and I didn't have to go pick them up apparently because I had enough that they could ship them for free. So I had them ship them over. Eric is down here working on the house, and
you guys are boozing it. You guys are boozing it up.
Nobody's boozing it up. And he comes up the driveway with his boxes of he's got a mask on, he's got the blue gloves, he's wearing a hazmat suit. This is like last week. I mean, this thing is blown over as far as I'm concerned, but no. So he comes in and then he says, I need an ID for someone. Eric pulls his ID out and he hands it to the guy. He says, No. He says, put it down on the box. He couldn't touch the ID. He got gloves on. What the hell are you wearing gloves for if you can't even touch the damn thing? Okay. Puts it down, and then he says, step away. And he has Eric back up a few feet, and then he takes a couple of pictures. It's okay, and then he jumps in his car and takes off. And I'm thinking, this isn't like the beginning of this thing when everyone was freaked out and the roads were dead empty. So it's just like we're 3-4 months into this, and you're walking around with gloves and a hazmat suit and scared to death somebody's going to hand you a driver's license?
Oh my. And next time that happens, when the guy's like, step away, you just do this. Boogity, hey! Yeah. Just throw a boogity at him. That's
it was jaw-dropping to witness.
Yeah.
But that's people, a lot of people have been brainwashed so much by this whole event.
Yeah.
And they take in and they believe everything from one stream. This is a problem with one stream belief systems where you just believe that, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN,
good to go.
I believe it.
I mean,
and it all comes streaming in, and you're afraid of your own shadow, and you're wondering why.
My spin class, which already had been reduced legally to a quarter. So there was, I think they legally can have 11 people in. Excuse me. I've been going every week for the past, since they opened 6 weeks, I guess. And last week and yesterday, 5, including me. And that's because people are canceling because they're worried about catching the virus. There's five people. There's one, and you come in, there's one person behind the desk to register you. Then there's the 5 of you. And then you're in this big gym, which can house 35, and you're all spread out. But no, people are canceling. It's sad. It's so sad. And I have to bring my own glass to the cookout. I can't believe I have to bring.
Why don't you bring a mug that says "World's Greatest Dad"?
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in the Chinatown hustle, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam McCurry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And a big in the morning to the troll room. Let's see how we're doing. Troll count. Oh, beautiful. 1,500. That's about right for a Thursday. Just under that, 1,496. Hello, trolls.
Douchebag check.
The trolls are there to enjoy listening together. It's a sacred ceremony. It happens twice a week on Thursdays. Sometimes Sundays. Depends if I can remember what day it is. Yeah, but it's noagendastream.com. This is where you can listen to the shows live, but also where you can listen to podcasts. But it's in a group. I have your talk hole so tight that if you're doing sound effects, you really got to get it close to the mic.
That one's not ever close. You never hear it anyway.
No, it was your chimes, wasn't it?
Can you hear this?
Yeah, I could hear that. I hear that.
Okay. I'm just beep outside?
Yeah. Don't believe me. This is from
somebody's backing up. Beep beep beep, backing up the whole street. Then they go. It's weird. They back up and then they run all the way back down and do it again. I don't know what the point of it is.
Should get in on that. So thank you very much, trolls. Oh yes, and of course that's part of the beauty is you get to throw out one-liners, trolls. I will troll back if I can, if I catch you. If I catch you by a little green troll toe. And while you're there, hit !NA social and you'll get an invitation to noagendasocial.com, which is our Mastodon federated social network, soon to be a part of Trump's secret 100 million person network. Yes, hey.
What do I do to give people invites to this No Agenda Social?
Oh, if you go into your preferences on No Agenda Social, it'll say right there, invite. I think it is invites. You can create one that you can use forever, and just have that code handy. And you can just paste that. You can put it in your signature, in your .signature file.
Woo!
Put it on your letterhead. All right, and then I'd like to say in the morning to 222, Darren O'Neill, not only providing us with the pre-stream rock and roll pre-stream show for at least an hour before we do our live shows, but also the artiste who brought us the artwork for episode 1253. We titled that Trained Marxist, which is exactly what the co-founder of Black Lives Matter said she was, and they are. And this was I think it hit the mark. People loved it. I think even people who didn't hear that episode or even know what the show is about, when you see a blackboard that says 1 + 2 = racist, I think everyone had different takeaways, but everyone enjoyed it equally. And it said so much. It really did. It was a great piece. I really enjoyed it and incorporated, the same kind of chalk-like font for No Agenda. And did you have any other comments, John? You want to mention?
No, it was just it was a standalone piece. It was the stand-up piece for the whole segment that day.
And people are doing a lot of art, so the competition is definitely stiffening.
Yeah,
but and there were some things there that were absolutely no-go areas. I think there's always some no-go stuff. Let me see, what do we have? Yeah. What was the bad one?
Automatic rejects, is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, there were some kind of lame ones. I can't really remember.
Well, I'm going to take a quick look.
Yeah, I thought there was some stuff that we were like, no, you can't do this.
No,
there wasn't anything really.
A lot of the fists.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything here that was particularly verboten.
See, half of them.
The picture, there's one that's an automatic kill, which is you.
Yep, that's a kill. Yeah, I don't want to do that. You got to be really good.
We gave up. We do not do our either of our individual, because for the first couple of years of the art, it was just us constantly.
Yeah. And we got so tired of seeing ourselves. It was horrible.
It was terrible. There I am again. So that was out. Noodle guns don't work. No one's done one worth of crap.
No, the noodle guns are...
Don't try that.
No one's been able to
Not interested in Fauci. Pinocchio noses. Come on.
It was okay, but yeah, I agreed. It was like, Anyway, we're just being critical. That's what
we do.
Now,
we are critics. That's what we do, so we can criticize the art, too.
Someone already got a Vaxeline.
Like the one I like, for example, when we did when we did the mob rule now, I like the Seattle Super LARPers, which did have a fist in it, and I use it for a newsletter.
Right.
So a lot of them go.
Oh yeah, this stuff gets used everywhere, and of course, noagendashop.com, who we have no official relationship with. They figured out a way to use the art, pay the artists, pay themselves, get you great product, and then donate to the show. So everything works out fantastic. It's how the Value for Value Network functions, and you gotta love it. Search.nashownotes.com is back, by the way. I think I mentioned that. We still have bingit.io, noagenda.com, and noagendaquery.com and noagendaquest.com. Any one of those will work because you can find links to the other ones. They're all interlinking. And if you can't find what you're looking for, then it doesn't exist. I'm amazed at how fast we can get stuff going. It's fantastic. And that's so we have noagendaartgenerator.com. Thank you for all the artists who participated and do that on the fly. It makes a big difference, we feel, with people being delighted to know there's something new from the No Agenda show and the way it pops up in most respected podcast players.
We do have a few people to thank for show 1254, I think. Is that the number?
That is our number.
But we have some big donors today. In fact, an inordinate number.
What is going on?
I don't know. But I'm not bitching about it. John Patrick being at the top of the list from Decatur, Illinois, came in with $3,000 and 3001. 3001.
3001.
So I don't know what that means. But he writes us a note. Much respect from the pride of the prairie, Decatur, Illinois. Immeasurable thanks to you both for your unique technique of media deconstruction. I discovered No Agenda in 2010 after searching for JCD following the end of Cranky Geeks. I needed to hear more of his sage wisdom or wage system, and I have been rewarded. Adam, you are truly a shining light of knowledge and sanity in an unsane world. Intentional word usage. An unsane world. Interesting.
Yeah.
You are the Podfather with a capital A-R-E.
Oh.
I am known by some in my social circles as the Oracle. So I request the title of Sir JDM Mac. JD Mac. Oracle of the Digital Prairie. Also, I have additional donations from August 2019 to 2020, totaling $1,082.91. Where do I send the accounting?
Wow.
So he's an Insta Baron.
Holy moly. Now, is he on all lists as such?
No.
Okay.
He is on the list as a knight. And he needs to be put on the secondary list, which has to be read afterwards because he has to be a knight before he becomes a baron.
Mm-hmm.
So he becomes a knight and a baron in the same show.
Sir J.D. Mac. You got it. Yes, I got it. Insta Baron. Wow. And that's his whole note?
Mm-hmm. Not one for... That's okay. Don't worry about it because Anonymous in North Carolina makes up for it.
Hey, well, Sir J.D. Mac, thank you very much. I look forward to knighting you and to getting you into the barony. This is very cool. Thank you for your courage, sir.
Now, Anonymous in North Carolina gave us $2,000, and this came in as a check. Yes, a check in the mail with a unique note. And it turns out that the note makes more sense when you hear his background. Now, he has the note separated with these. This is I should photocopy this thing.
Okay.
I can't even explain it, the detail that he's gone to. He's got his new logo he's going to be knighted Sir Boiled Peanut. He's already got a logo designed for himself. He was at one of the meetups before and he gave away, buttons. He's the one who gave away NoAgendaButtons.com.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I know who it is. Okay, great.
Yeah, there's NoAgendaButtons.com. So he sent me a bunch of buttons along with the check.
Mm-hmm.
He says, please keep me anonymous. Sorry for the long note. Don't read all of it on the air. And he does have us all segmented so I can pick and choose.
Oh, you can cherry pick. Nice.
It's crazy. No jingles, only family health karma fee. Please don't make that a note. Don't de-douche me. I don't deserve it.
I'm sorry. I need to stop you right here, right now. We did not give John Patrick his goat karma.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
No, that's my fault. That's my fault because I just went right into writing stuff down for.
Well, let's go back to John Patrick. $3,001 in Decatur, Illinois.
Here you go, man. Your goat karma. Thank you so much.
You've got.
All right, there we go. Now back to Anonymous in North Carolina with the great.
We're blinded by the donation. Sorry, John.
Clearly, we're blinded.
Okay, back to
yes,
Anonymous. He doesn't want any de-douching, and he wants us some health karma at the end.
Okay.
So make a note. I don't think he's got anything else in here. And he apologized for being the show's biggest boner. I've been listening since the beginning, but never contributed, so here's a lot of pressure on this. There's a lot of pressure on this note. I'm not nearly as clever as other producers that write notes filled with humor, insider knowledge, and excellent ideas. I realize, however, I'm giving you money, so it doesn't matter what I write. Just take my cash. I humbly request that my title be Sir Boiled Peanut after my long-missed home state of Alabama. By the way, this guy, I'm going to get a hold of him because he has got the design chops that are just, they're Madison Avenue.
Wait, you see this in his note? Wait, you said
yeah.
Well,
the way it's laid out, the way he's got his logo. I mean, everything about it just spells design. And he's in North Carolina. I hate to get off the topic with it because we got a lot of notes to read, but I was in Asheville once, also referred to as Sheville. And there was a designer there, and I lost his card. And it really irks me because he's one of the finest guys. I just run into this guy in this little mini mall, and he's got his shop there. And I think there's a lot of designers down in the South that are not being.
Dame Jennifer's in North Carolina, too.
She's in South Carolina.
Oh, I thought she was North Carolina.
Oh, I thought she was South Carolina. I
could be wrong.
But
now I feel dumb, that's for sure.
But there seems to be some attraction. There's something about North Carolina and these designers, and I don't think they probably make much money. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, a lot of pressure goes on. He says, the show is currently the best it's ever been. Throughout the years, the show has been a constant companion of information, humor, and sanity through long commutes, longer travel, and even longer working nights. The outlook gained has helped me immeasurably, both personally and professionally. And he goes on about, I can skip this. There are already so many other producers with fantastic efforts such as No Agenda Shop and Animated No Agenda. Yeah. What else could I do to chip in? I'm too slow for album artwork. He could probably do a good job too.
Yeah.
But you can do a couple of evergreens. You might catch them later. But I have a button maker sitting around for a brand presentation. Clients are suckers for buttons.
Really?
I made some quick versions of. Yeah, I guess so. You give them a few buttons. It's a good trick.
Hey, I want to. We could. Remember we had one of the best buttons someone made for us was ask me about my podcast.
Yeah, it says I'm a podcaster. Ask me about my podcast. No, hello, I'm a podcaster. Ask me about my podcast.
It's a great button.
Anyway, he goes on about the buttons. He says the sites. He says, I slapped a website together, designed some more buttons, and NoAgendaButtons.com was born. The site is meant to have a slight 70s feel in my mind. I haven't looked at the site, but
I'm going to take a look right now.
It's well designed, is my guess. In my mind, it's the heyday of rock and roll buttons. I'm just guessing, though. I wasn't alive, so he's young. The deal is this.
Oh, my goodness.
The deal is this. I've made free buttons for fellow producers. All someone has to do is go to noagendabuttons.com and pick out 5 buttons. The site generates a PDF of your selections that can be printed and sent with a self-addressed stamped envelope to No Agenda Buttons. P.O. Box 18245, Charlotte.
No Agenda Buttons has a P.O. Box. Bam.
Yeah, it
Hello.
Does.
Hello.
The envelope needs to be able to hold a 4x6 card and have at least 6 buttons. I think this is all mentioned on the website.
The website is beautiful.
The UPS assures me that $6 in postage will get them to you anywhere in the States. International producers, please attach enough postage to carry. He wants another one. He wants to. You're gonna be paying for postage. The show is great. I suck. Here's money. Free buttons for the listeners, producers. NoAgendaButtons.com. And then he repeats it over and over again like a marketing guy would.
You need to see some of these buttons. He has a Club 33 that is dynamite, a collector's item faux show.
Yeah, I think he sent me that one. Thank you for encouraging future Sir Boiled Penis and Eagle Scout. Another one.
Eagle Scout. That. Oh, so these it's like your No Agenda Eagle badges. He's got one, a backup and a backup to that backup to the backup. He's got adios mofos, important with the T falling off. Oh my goodness, this is pretty damn good. Wow.
Another Eagle Scout, with the time on his hands. All right, onward.
Yes.
I want to thank...
Wait. I need to give him the health karma.
Oh, it's Pete.
Yeah, of course. Here we go. I'm enamored by this.
You've got karma.
Health karma? Yes, health karma. There you go.
Meanwhile, Seronimus of Dog Patches here.
When it rains, it pours. Or is it liquid sunshine?
Code 1201. Code 1201.
Okay. And hopefully there is a note to accompany Code 1201.
From Sir Onimus of Dogpatch and Lower Slobovia. Thank you to the producers for their fine work on the search engines.
Yes.
For other producers and even fair weather listeners, the cumulative and documented collection from multiple news sources accumulated from 6 hours of weekly programming and dating back almost a decade is the Library of Congress worthy.
It's so true. I agree.
And certainly more valuable than Joe Rogan's show library. Aw. He doesn't have one. Yet these two podcasters provide free access, all without Google or YouTube advertisements.
Hold on. He's saying something different, and I want to interpret what Dog Patch is saying. He's saying Rogan licensed his library for whatever amount it was. We don't know, which he feels should be the equal amount to the library we have of content and make available for free. So step it up, people.
I'm not sure what he's saying here, but he says, yet these two podcasters provide free access, all without Google or YouTube advertisements. Exit strategy, the database.
Okay. Let me just write that down. The database is... Now, of course, we have to get it from 4 different dudes named Ben. So he
continues in his note. Eid celebrations in Lower Slobovia following an entire Ramadan lockdown looked more like a New Year's celebration, resulting in a second lockdown.
Oh, no.
A few friends were stricken and relied on OTC drugs and home remedies and staying away from hospitals, but it did kick their butts for a while. I should note that OTC in Lower Slobovia covers almost all prescription drugs and opioids.
Huh.
Alcohol is not OTC, but like prohibition in the U.S., is available to calm one's nerves during a pandemic. Dogpatchians noted how many political leaders' use of social distancing from their voters has been successful. They're completely out of touch with their voters. Yeah. Of course, these politicians' close ties to the deep-pocketed donors outside their voting district has become more evident. Mail-in write-in candidates, MyWhy, is a distinct opportunity if campaigns start this summer. That's an interesting idea, and that was his tip for the day.
Now, say again what you thought was an interesting idea?
Write-in candidates for the mail-in votes.
Oh, that is very interesting, isn't it? How does that work?
Now, you have to remember
go ahead.
that Lisa Murkowski, the Republican from Alaska who was pushed out during the era of the Tea Party. They had she lost in a primary, and the Republicans backed this other person.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa said, "This is bull crap. Nobody's going to vote her in. You're going to get the Democrat in. Write me in, and I'll continue to be your senator." And so Lisa Murkowski won
with the
U.S. Senate as a write-in candidate in Alaska. A lot of billboards.
Right.
And then the Republicans backed off on trying to oust her. And she has been kind of a thorn in the side of Trump. She's not a never Trumper technically, but she doesn't like him. But she's in there. She's in there for good. So the idea of doing a write-in program locally might work if you get a mailing list or two.
Could I become mayor of Austin?
You could.
Well, wait, no, that's in 2 years from now. It's not this time.
Anyway, that's an idea.
That is an interesting idea, Anonymous.
Onward, we'll be here all day. Tony Cabrera.
Wait, thank you very much, Anonymous of Dogpatch in Lower Slobovia. 1201 is the code. All right, go.
Yeah, no jingles nor karma. This is the way you go. Tony Cabrera at $1,063.35. It's that time again. Just wanted to deposit our latest round of No Agenda Shop profits. This is noagendashop.com.
Talking about
and thank you for all the listeners who made the donations possible. The shop turns 4 years old today. If we can survive the greatest pandemic since 1917, we should be able to survive anything. Keep preaching that formula, and we'll keep propagating it. We'll take a Trump that's true and some karma por favor.
It's true.
You've got karma.
I forgot about the Trump that's true.
Yeah. No, I saw the spreadsheet come in. I'm like, I should probably get all this set up. We got work to do, Curry.
Anonymous in Michigan follows with $1,000. No name or location. Our One thing only. Fuck sports. Sick as shit of everything sports. I don't even care about. Not watching any more of it. Done. Hope these cucks and commies are happy. Over with fantasy, too. My mind won't change when I'm not drunk. All right, not upset. Just hope I'm one of the many. Love and light. Respect. Atlas shrugged, followed by See the Juice. Thank you for your courage.
And a karma as well? Or, well, we might as well throw one in.
RESPICT.
Atlas shrugged.
By Ayn Rand.
Oh my gosh. Can you see that juice?
You've got karma.
Kyle Allen, $333.33 from Bandera, Texas. And you might want to read this.
Well, I would, but I'm getting the entire list of jingles set up. So
okay, I'll read it.
Thank you.
ITM, gentlemen, thank you for your courage. Thank you for putting the C in comprehensive media analysis. Darren and Graham from Grimerica Show podcast hit us in the mouth last year, and we have been listening to every show since. Later, they publicly and properly called us out as douchebags on your show.
Uh-oh.
So this donation is to rectify that situation. Please give us a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Aside from the amygdala shrinking content you provide on every episode, you also set an excellent example for other podcasters in the form of the value for value system and the way you interact with your audience. Shameless plug alert. We follow your model with our own podcast, which is called The Brothers of the Serpent. We explore ancient mysteries, human origins, legends, and mythology on our show in an effort to understand who we are and what the hell is really going on. Like you, we have no ads, no agenda, and are 100% supported by the voluntary donations of our listeners. So our donation to you is in part because we want to stop being douchebags, but also to say thank you for showing us the way to creating fantastic content surrounded by an amazing supportive community. Thank you so much for everything you do. Give us an Orange Man bad, that's true, bullshit, and some goat karma for continuing podcasting success. Russ and Kyle Allen, Brothers of the Serpent Podcast.
P.S. Do executive producers automatically receive a boarding pass for the mothership? Oh, yeah. You're on the list, pal. Don't worry. Orange Man bad.
That's true.
Bullshit.
You've got karma.
Kathleen Stokes in Woburn, Massachusetts, 333.33. Just 333. Well, not my first donation. This is my first producer level donation. In honor of my husband's 38th birthday, I've been listening in No Agenda for at least 6 years now, and I've recently been reminded how much I need you guys. I'm dismayed by the current atmosphere, the move away from critical thinking and educated discourse. Really? Huh. I'm appalled by the willingness of my millennial peers to shut up and not question anything. Yeah. I feel like this is the time I can request a fun ISO or two, but I will leave it up to Adam to pick something fun or not. Thank you both, and John, great job with the newsletter.
Well, why don't I take this opportunity to give you my two end-of-show ISO candidates? I don't know if you have any.
I do have a bunch.
Okay.
Well, not a bunch. I have a couple. You want to hear them?
Yeah, I want to hear real quick.
Duty to listen.
Is that the... I mean, do we need to listen to what? The ISOs?
No, duty to listen.
Duty to listen. I'm sorry.
It is your duty to listen. It is your duty to listen.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's not bad.
Not happening.
Okay.
That's not happening now.
Oh, I do like it. This one was sent to me.
You can just lick it.
Thought that was pretty good. Apparently that's you.
You can't use me at the end of the show ISO. You can just lick it.
Wow, it's a great ISO. And then this one.
Love joining you.
Oh, that's a good one.
I like that.
Love joining you.
Let me give you the context. This is the CNBC hosts. Listen, this is how they ended their show. That's where it came from.
Josh Brown, thanks for joining us today. Always good to have you.
Sarah Eisen. Love joining you.
I'm glad it's mutual.
So anyway,
love joining you.
You like that one? I think it's pretty good, right? So we'll do
it. May be the best.
So we're gonna do that and give you a karma.
Love joining you.
And just use it.
You've got karma.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Love joining you.
Sir Sam of Bedfordshire and River Great Ouse, I think. 333 from West Winfield, New York. He's got some jingle requests. Alex Jones growing babies.
Mm-hmm.
Stop the hammering. Is something. You guys have been smashing it the last couple of weeks. It's tough keeping up on your amazing content each week with no commute. Thanks, Kung Flu. It's been a while since my last donation, but I knew it was time to donate again when I was listening to Leo sell public hair grooming kits on Security Now podcast. I'm no prude, and if Leo wants to discuss that stuff, it's fine by me, but it just shows that value for value is the only way to do this. I mean...
is that true?
Yes, he's got a Manscaped is the name of the company.
With that horrible razor that apparently maims your private parts?
It's something there's a lot of people should look it up before they use anything like that.
Before you give it a shot.
Speaking of value for value, thanks for mentioning Matt Taibbi's Substack.
Yes.
Well worth $40 a year. Keep up the amazing work, Sir Sam of Bedfordshire.
Yes. And the River Great Ouse, I think it is.
Yeah.
All right, here we have his jingles as requested.
My God, for 25 years, they've been growing babies in cows.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Stop the hammering!
Perfect.
Rule followers.
Yes.
Jonathan Psychopath in Charlotte, North Carolina, North Carolinian. $270.59. Thank you for your courage. I speak for everyone by saying that we're all better for having you in our lives. Here's the other half of my half, Iron Man time. No jingles, just Goat Karma Scream. Jonathan, Psychopath, Charlotte.
You've got karma.
Alex Simkus in Berlin, Washington, $250. In the morning, with this donation, I am launched into higher realms of society known as a no-agenda knighthood. You guys
nice.
Shaped my young adulthood and taught me more than any college professor ever could.
Whoa.
I'm obliged to make
say that again. I want to hear that again. So read it slowly.
You guys shaped my young adulthood and taught me more than any college professor ever could. I am obliged to make this donation at this time as my Bombre Jared Mata is making an attempt to beat me to knighthood. I would like the title of Sir Alex of North Burien and would like to bring to the round table the only things that Jared and I have in abundance. Garbage juice and needle caps.
There it is. I'm just waiting for the part where we educated him. Found it. Okay.
I humbly request that you play Alex Jones, The Frogs Are Gay, and some Jobs Karma.
Now it makes
random number.
Now it makes sense. Thank you very much. See you at the round table, Alex.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I'll grab this next one. Sir Sean Dolan, 22222 from Santa Ana. Santa Ana CR? Where's the CR?
Croatia?
Croatia, maybe? Well, hello, says Sir Sean. About 2 years ago, I asked for medical karma due to my mother's stroke. I flew her to Europe to bring her back to Canada and took care of her during her recovery. I am now thanking you in the most typical Latin American third world way. That is...
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. That is very late. Wow. My mother had an exceptional recovery in the 2.5 months I was caring for her. When we left the hospital, she was perhaps able to walk for 5 to 10 feet without the aid of her walker and had other serious mobility issues. At the end of 2.5 months, she had regained what I would consider about 95% of her mobility, in that she could walk to the stores and go shopping without a problem and occasionally only had to use a cane. In case she felt so good that she decided to cut her therapy short and go off on multiple-month vacation to Maui. Oh, in fact, I'm sorry, she felt so good. P.S. Here in Costa Rica, we have one of the lowest hospitalization rates for coronavirus in the world. Standard course of treatment for everyone here is to put them on hydroxychloroquine after being detected positive. No zinc or Z-Pack. Cheers, and I would request some stereo goat karma cream. Cream scream. Wow, I'm all over the map today. Some stereo goat scream karma. Where did I goat creams? What did I say?
You said stereo goat cream.
Karma, goat karma cream. Now in handy tubes. Sir Sean, Knight of the Cisgendered Third World Jungle. Well, I don't think we have a luge, I think. We have luge. Let me see. I got some luge goat karma. That should satisfy for you, so here you go.
You've got karma.
Sweet.
So now we have an anomaly because there's a missing donation here.
Ruh-roh.
That was part of a donation that never was received. But meanwhile, the wife has chimed in.
Okay.
I think maybe this was the last show because I remember a Dan Kovash from the last show.
I'd have to
coming
go
in with
look.
$244.44. I'm going to read this note.
Now, and do I even have this note? What are you looking at? I don't have this.
I'm looking at an email I got.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's a squabble.
Uh-oh.
My husband, Dan Kovash, donated $244.44 in honor of my 44th birthday. I've donated before and would like that donation to be in my name, as I deserve to be the executive producer in a future Dame. I hit him in the mouth this tax season. I think you helped him survive the most grueling tax year ever. Thank you. So please transfer the donation to Brandy Kovash. I have donated before via PayPal, so hopefully you can give me on record. I've made it. He also made an error and typed his name Dab Kovash. It's Dan.
Oh, this I remember.
It was a wonderful gift. It was exactly what I wanted.
This is now I remember. Oh my. Okay.
Okay. So here's the deal on that.
What are we going to do? This sounds like
you're going to have to go back and
change
the
cat fight.
Change the associate executive producer to Brandy. But in terms of damehood and the rest of it, you keep your own accounting, Brandy. And so you can just move the money around any way you want. So.
But which?
It was the last show.
Are you sure it was the last show? No, I don't see him on the lot. No.
Well,
was it the show
then
before
maybe
that?
The note hasn't come in yet, and she's
horrible.
doing it. We will work it out eventually.
We will work it out.
This happens. Onward with Sir Brian Tobiason in Gardner, Kansas, at $208.02. And he writes, thanks for all you do. Which one? Where are you doing? Yeah. I need some F cancer karma. Gents, my mother-in-law has been diagnosed with a rare and aggressive liver cancer. It's got my smoking hot wife in fits as we await the start of chemo.
Yes.
I know the NA karma helps a lot of people. Perhaps our family would be lucky too. Thanks for all you do. I've been listening since show 211 and have never been more sane.
All right, Sir Brian. Yeah, of course, man. So sorry. But as we always do.
You've got karma.
Effed it good.
Mike Salmon in San Marcos, Cal, $200.33. Hi, John and Adam. I got hit in the mouth on the JRE show, started listening right away, and I haven't stopped.
Oh, right.
I'm now a subscriber to MoFax. I think I owe Adam an apology. Being 40 years old, I grew up with Adam being on MTV, which, while I love music, found that channel annoying.
You and me both, man.
I dismissed Adam as just another douche on TV. Well, I was wrong. Adam's and John's insight and analysis of the news has helped shrink my amygdala during this time in the upside-down world. With this donation, please de-douche me. Please send some...
You've been de-douched.
Send some jobs karma to help my new pool company and to share with all the listeners. Add some Biden babbling about whatever for some laughs. Cheers.
Well, Mike, thank you very much. I completely understand how you could just look at me and think I was some douche. And I want you to take that into consideration when you see Brian Stelter Water on CNN. He might be a really nice guy. No, probably not.
I look forward to introducing. I would have already done it had we had not had the death. George had not been held up against that curb.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Throw in a goat for you. There you go.
Karma.
Extra goat. Thank you very much.
That was Mike. Now we go to Zach Montgomery Davidson, another North Carolinian. We got a slew of them today, all big donors. $200. He sent in an email.
Oh, good.
Which I tracked down and we'll go to. First off, let me see if there's any, I don't know if you got anything tough here, but you get your douchebag button ready.
Okay.
First off, I'd like to call out John and Caleb as douchebags.
Two coming.
Douchebag.
For John and douchebag. That's for Caleb.
To the producers out there, my partners and I are real estate investors and give our passive investors, i.e. you, an 8% preferred return. Throw in the perpetual ownership even after your capital is no longer deployed, and the tax benefits, your returns could be better than what you're getting in the stock market or elsewhere. So bring your retirement funds, bring your cash, and let's buy some real estate. International investors welcome. Email me at montgomerytzachary@gmail.com.
I think I've seen his billboards here in Austin.
Montgomery T. Zachary.
I love it, man.
Please give us some business karma. Thank you for your karma, for your courage.
Thank you very much. You bet. Here is I'll give you jobs business karma. Even
Jobs,
better.
jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Now, I do have one make good here on the list. I'm sure you got this. This is from Darius Walker, who donated $187.66 and $33.33 with his brand new Hyper Lucky subscription. If I'm not mistaken, and doing my own accounting, I think that comes to a total of $229.99. Yet I was not mentioned. Okay, so this was last week. And so, Darius, yes, we will put you in as an associate executive. Brain freeze. As an associate executive producer.
These are the kind of things that's impossible.
But let's explain why it's wrong. We don't want to take his producership away, so we'll give that to you. But yes, we do not have a system that is, as weird as it sounds, sophisticated enough to detect all of your donations and keep track of them and spit out automatic levels. In fact, Eric the Shill does a lot of this by hand. Am I saying that right, John?
Eric does a lot, but there's no way you can. There's too many. It's impossible to dredge up stuff that we don't even look at, which is the donations under 50. We acknowledge them as have been done, but they're all anonymous. And so they've been anonymized, and so it's impossible to dredge one up without you sending us a note explaining it in careful details before the fact, not after.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll hook you up. No worries. And thank you very much for your courage. And was that our executive and associate executive producers?
That's a big list of associate executive producers and executive producers for show 1254. And we want to thank each and every one of them for making this show work.
And remember that we will do it all again on Sunday, just a few days from now. So we'd appreciate your support for our Value for Value network. Whatever value you place on it, let us know. Go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And keep your eye on the Chinese CCP ball. That's our path for now.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave. Shut up, slave.
So one of the big news stories this week was John Bolton came out with his book.
Yes.
And I've been following it because of a number of things. One, I figured out who wrote the book.
And can I preface that I received a link to a copy, which was a PDF, which I immediately sent to you because I'm not going to read it. And that's only because I have no time to read stupid shit. But you immediately had all kinds of questions about it.
Yes, the thing is very screwy. And a couple of things. First, I noted before reading the book, I noted that the left, because I was driving around with Jay, and I listened to both the right-wing talk shows and the left-wing talk shows and the radio. And so I'm flipping back and forth, and I caught the Stephanie Miller show.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a couple other shows too, but she's the one she's like kind of an old right-wing talk show type from the 70s, but she's a left-winger.
A lot of sound bites, a lot of sound effects on her show.
Sound effects. She's very much like an old-timey talk show person, but she's
kind of like the douche from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, a little bit. But she's a she's a left. She's a left-winger. She mocks Trump. She's just she's in the mainstream of this type of thinking. And so I'm listening to the show, and they're talking about this book. And these people come on and they say, oh, whatever you do, that Bolton's an asshole for not testifying in the impeachment. The guy's impeached.
Wait, Stephanie Miller was saying this on her show?
She had guests saying it, and she was saying it.
Oh.
And the talk went like this. I'll just summarize. Bolton's a douche, a creep. He shouldn't make a nickel from this book because he didn't testify on one of the impeachment hearings.
Of course.
Because he's got, she says, by the way, after reading the book and listening to them, they never read the book. But I can see where they read parts of the book, and the left has decided you don't want to read this book. Now, I took an excerpt from the book and put it in the newsletter.
Yeah.
And in that excerpt, you can see why they don't want the left reading the book. Because Bolton spends as much time slamming Obama and the Iran deal, especially in that excerpt, as he does anything.
Oh, that won't stand.
In fact, the one thing, let me see if I got it.
I know. While you're looking that up, because of course I did look at the book when I got that copy. The opening paragraph of the introduction by itself was so narcissistically like, do you want to know what a busy day looks like? Here's my day. This is my job. This is all the stuff I have to deal with.
Oh, yeah,
opening paragraph.
Terrible.
It was disgusting.
He spends most of his time talking about himself.
Yeah. Well, but he would do great on a podcast.
It is a memoir. Yes, he should have one. But he has stuff like this talking about the Iran deal. I'm going to read from the excerpt I put into the newsletter.
Yeah.
But a combination of Tillerson, Madison, McMaster frustrated Trump's efforts to break free from this wretched deal, the Iran deal, earning them the plaudits of the adoring media as an excess of adults, restraining Trump from indulging in wild fantasies. So he's slamming these guys. He's slamming a lot of people. It's not a book that the left wants to read. So the left has been telling everyone not to read the book and just listen to his interviews. Because in his interviews, he just says Trump sucks. And so that's great. That's all we want to hear.
Good job, John.
So don't read the book. Just listen to the interviews where he says Trump sucks.
Oh, good point.
Now, I was reading this and I kept hearing a voice in my head that was not Bolton's, and it was the writer. And I figured out who wrote the book, and then I have I have one piece of the book.
Now we should say that you have a lot of experience in the print world and publishing. You've put together books. You've published many books before our relationship. You immediately knew that he had not written the book, or it's just completely unlikely any of these jamokes ever writes their books anyway?
It actually came from a bunch of clips. I have some clips now.
All right.
I'm not the only one who thinks he didn't write the book. In fact,
I don't care about everyone. I care about you.
The only guy who was really on it, because everybody that interviewed him, with all the left-wing media, they're just hounding, what else is bad about Trump? And Trump sucks. Well, can you say that again? That was basically the interview. So Brett Barr actually interviewed him.
Right.
And now I want to play, I got too many clips, but a couple of them are very short. In fact, the shortest one I'll play right away, which is Bolton. This is Yamiche on KQED, and here's how she summarizes the book.
A 500-page bombshell denouncing a president who is now playing defense.
The 500, I could even repeat it, the 500-page bombshell denouncing a
president who's now playing defense. Yeah, okay. Very good.
Amish.
Very good analysis.
Yes.
So let's go to, now here we have Bolton Bear, Brett Baer on Fox, who did a very good interview. And this is, there's a couple of ones that say clip 1, but this is Bolton Bear 1 intro.
500 pages of your time inside the room, as you say, in the room where it happened. How did you write this book? I saw in an interview that you said that the notes, you took lots of notes. The notes, as I said in my exit interview from the White House, were destroyed during the course of my tenure there. So how do you go back and fill in all of these blanks with that detail, these quotes, 500 pages?
Well, this is the best recollection I can put together. I'm blessed with a pretty good memory, and I thought about how to do this. I wrote a book when I left the George W. Bush administration called Surrender's Not an Option. Went through much the same process.
When were the notes destroyed?
During the course of usually the weekend following when they were taken, throughout the thing, put in burn bags, that sort of thing. But no notes were taken with me after I left the White House.
The White House says they didn't destroy it, so you destroyed them.
That's correct, sure.
If you destroyed them, it would be a violation of the Presidential Records Act.
No. During the course of the work, this was something we had burn bags in our offices and put I don't know how many documents into the burn bags.
Once you destroy them, is that a problem legally for you because you destroy records that are supposed to be kept?
No, I don't think these are records that are supposed to be kept, and they were not, and many other people followed the same pattern.
You know, I saw this, and I thought Brett Baer to be incredibly dumb. Did he not? I mean, am I the only one that knows what a burn bag is and who uses it and why they use it? And why is he thinking that somehow is destroying records? That was dumb to me. Did I miss something?
Well, I don't know if it's dumb or not, but he was trying to break down the following meme that's been going around about Bolton, which was Bolton is supposedly an outrageous note taker.
Yeah.
He takes notes on his craps. He goes to the bathroom. He writes down how many turds came out, everything. So he's like a ridiculous note taker. And meanwhile, he cranks out this 500-page book in pretty much, well, you'll hear in the next clip, the time frame was September to the same year, fall, to get the manuscript in. It's like a 3-month period. He writes a 500-page book. And without notes, because everyone's, he's a note taker. That's why he could do these things so fast. He's a note taker, but he's got no notes according to himself. So that's what I think was important about that, and not whether Bear's an idiot or not.
Okay, I got you.
So he's trying to say, he won't bring himself to say, did you have, and he should have, did you have a ghostwriter help you with this book? Because let's go back into the ghostwriter thing. I'm going to explain it one more time.
Please.
There's 3 ways about going about having a ghostwriter. You can put your name on the book with another guy's name, and the other guy's the ghostwriter.
Right.
You can also pay less money. You have to pay money for that. And then you can pay less money and give the guy a little more credit, and so it would be your name, and the name is and so-and-so. And he's the ghostwriter, but he didn't get paid as much, so he gets an and instead of a with.
And when would you do an and? Is that because the ghostwriter is a name, like he's done, like the ghostwriter, he or she has done something with someone else?
That would be one reason. The other one is you can't afford to pay the big dough. And
that's what I'm thinking.
And the big dough is no ghostwriter on the cover.
Right.
That's where you pay the maximum amount of money. Somebody else writes the book. His name's nowhere to be found. And then it's just your name on the cover. Now, I think that this book was written by someone else, and I think he paid the big money because he got a $2 million advance and could easily throw $1 million of it away on a ghostwriter who would probably demand $1 million when I tell you who his name is.
There's that much money in ghostwriting, in anonymous ghostwriting?
$1 million bucks?
Yeah.
Well, in the case of getting a book out this fast, let's listen to the clip, Bolton Buyer 2.
Oh, hold on. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Here we go.
some of those pictures of you in the back of meetings, adjusting your glasses, holding notes, look like in your mind you're arranging chapters of the book. At what time in the 17 months did you say, I got to start really thinking about this? And without detailed notes, were you going to be able to do it? I mean, you left in September, and your deadline was what, the fall?
Well, I did something very similar, as I say, when I left the Bush administration, and that's the same pattern I followed here.
Really?
So he got this book cranked out faster than imaginable.
He's not a policy advisor. He's an author. He's in there dividing it into chapters along the way.
He's not doing anything. Now I have a couple more stories I could play before
you reveal who wrote the book.
Yeah, before I reveal who wrote the book, and then we'll see who plagiarizes my thoughts on this.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. Yeah.
Oh, somebody will. Some podcaster, somebody will do it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go over who. Yeah, because I heard his voice the whole time. He's actually mentioned a lot in the book, which is like, why is this guy getting so much play? He's mentioned a lot, and I heard his voice, and I know who it was. And then the kicker was a line in this excerpt.
Don't tell me yet. Do I get to guess? Do you give me a clue so I can do a guess?
Yeah, I can read you this line from the excerpt that is as far as I'm concerned, is the convincer.
Okay.
Trump and the other 2016 GOP candidates campaigned against the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. That's the Iran deal.
Mm-hmm.
The lumbering formal title of the Iran deal, and it was widely believed to be ready for extreme unction following his inauguration.
Unction.
Lumbering.
I'm on to the clues. Lumbering unction. Mitt Romney.
Okay, so here we have it. So I'm going to give you, and this will get you closer. Extreme unction is a Catholic sacrament that very few people outside of the religion even pay any attention to the words. It means last rites. And a Catholic would be the kind of person who'd write something like that in a symbolic, kind of a metaphorical way,
yes,
which is the way this was done as a pure metaphor. Not a Lutheran like Bolton. Bolton would never write that sentence.
Never unction. You're right. It's very, very ultra-Catholic.
So we're talking about a Catholic, probably went to Catholic school, knew all these details because he was in the administration, got pissed off at Trump a bit much, and he decided to write this book for Bolton. Bolton probably edited a little bit. I don't think he did that much, but this book was probably written by the time Bolton got kicked out.
All right, Detective Dookie.
Steve Bannon.
Oh,
Irish Catholic.
Oh, wow. And and Bolton used to be up Bannon's butt all the time. Every single day he was on the Breitbart radio at the time, whatever. And by the way, where are your manners? It's Mr. Banyan to you.
So Banyan. So he wrote this book, and he's an actual writer.
Yes, and he uses those annoying words.
And by the way, the book is filled with them. They're filled with these annoyances, these annoying words. And to use extreme unction instead of last rites or deathbed, which is the way a normal writer would have put it, you would have said the thing was on this deathbed following his inauguration. Instead of extreme unction, only it's Bannon. There's no doubt about it. And so that's who wrote this book.
This is also filled with Banyan's view on
everything.
Everything, yeah. So when did Banyan start hating Trump? I don't know if he does.
It was not right after he got kicked off the.
I don't even know if he does. No.
Well, no, he came. Don't you remember when he came out with a bunch of Trump slams for a very short period, then he pulled back?
Yeah, he pulled it all back, yeah.
He pulled it all back. He's still a Trumper, but he pulled it all back, and I think a lot of it had to do with this. And in this one excerpt that's in the newsletter, you can read it. He is, and this is all Banyan. He hates McMaster. He hated McMaster. He hated Tillerson, and he hated Mattis.
And
he just
right.
calls them out. And by the way, Mattis is called out, and I think this was during when Steve was in there. He kept trying to bring in Mattis, who's obviously a Democrat, kept trying to bring in Democrat operatives into the White House.
Oh,
and it's all listed in this book. This book is not a book that the left wants to read. That's why they're telling him not to read it. Let the guy not make any money. By the way, this idea of him not making any money is, again, funny. And anyone who's been involved with books, because he's already made the money.
The money's up front. Exactly. He's got the money.
Yeah, he got his $2 million advance.
Done. He's
not going to make any money after this, whether the book sells 1 or 100.
No.
So this is nonsense. This is a scam This is a scam. This book is written by Steve Bannon.
And what is the benefit to Bannon? What's
gets it off his chest.
Yeah. And I'm sure Trump knows.
Oh, Trump has to know. And by the way, I will reiterate, I heard Bannon's voice in my head because I've heard him give enough speeches and enough talks and enough lectures, and I've read enough from him that this has just got him. They couldn't get it out of there. If I was the editor, and in fact, by the way, there's something screwy about the PDF file. And our Sir Boiled Peanuts will get a kick out of this. The whole thing is set in Arial.
Yeah,
who sets a book like this in Arial?
I, of course, never thought about this, but that is a huge faux pas, apparently.
Well, unless you're doing a textbook or a math book or a how-to book on how to do, arts make artificial flowers, that might be set in Arial. Procedural books might be set in Arial. But you don't set a book like this in Arial. You never do. You have to set it in a serif font.
Outrage. Another reason to hate Bannon.
I don't think there was Bannon that made that decision. I think it was made at the editorial level where they couldn't get a lot of this stuff like Extreme Unction edited out because Bannon wouldn't allow it. And so they said, okay, we're going to put the font as Arial. Let's live with that, jerks.
The print boys and girls can be so wickedly mean. Well, that is fantastic. I would like you to do a little end zone dance, play just another gratuitous Bolton clip just because it was so good.
Well, I got a few clips to play. I want to play where they start slamming him.
Oh, good.
I have 2 clips.
Okay.
This is where Brett Baer, he gets a little annoyed with Bolton, and he starts to slam him. And there's 2 good clips here.
Does he get unctuous?
No, it doesn't get unctuous. Slam 1.
You cite Secretary Pompeo in the book as somebody that you talk to a lot, seem to see your point of view on things. Secretary Pompeo has called you a traitor. He openly celebrated when you left the White House, yet you say that he shared North Korea views, Iran, China. So how do you think Pompeo is so trusted in this White House for so long?
Well, I think he took the view that I think led to disagreements between us, that even in issues where he thought the president was moving in the wrong direction, he would just stop trying to persuade him, stop trying to fix what was clearly a problem. And I think his political future is very much tied to the Trump administration, and I can understand what he's doing.
Any reaction to the traitor talk? He compared you to Edward Snowden.
Yeah, that's complete nonsense. But on the other hand, the president was quoted months ago as calling me a traitor, so the fact that Mike Pompeo does is par for his course.
The South Koreans have weighed in, saying this book does not reflect accurate facts and substantially distorts facts. Unilaterally publishing consultations made on a mutual trust violates the basic principles of diplomacy and could severely damage future negotiations. There's not a lot of people happy about this book.
Look, if you don't write the truth about these things at a point where the voters in South Korea or the voters in the United States can act on it, I think you're doing a disservice to the people.
This guy.
He's too funny.
And no one really cares. Does anyone really care about him and his book?
No, the left. You're missing out here.
No, I'm not missing out on that. But they're not going to read it because they're not allowed to. And I don't think they will. I think they'll be very good rule followers. They're not going to.
I agree. They're rule followers told not to read the book, so they won't read the book.
They won't read the book. Now I have to read it.
Even do a good interview. Here's a good one. This is another slam Bear gives him.
Speaking not credible, that is what George W. Bush said about you. Did not believe that you were credible. Colin Powell obviously had a lot of things to say about you. Other administrations and other people you've worked with have painted a negative picture. Is there somebody that you've worked with that has a positive perspective on your time?
Well, I hope there are a lot of people who have a positive perspective. I've been criticized for a lot of things. There's a long list of that, I'm sure. But I've always tried to say what I thought.
To that point, you say that the president was really transactional. He didn't have an ideology, a driving principle. You say that was a real problem, that there was no principle in his foreign policy. Supporters would say America first is a principle, and not going into endless wars, in his words, is a principle. You said at the Heritage Foundation in December of 2018...
I think the president's transactional history of making deals...
Holy crap, was that your edit or their edit? That was horrible.
That's their edit, but it's a visual, so they have a picture.
I think the president's transactional history of making deals that are mutually beneficial, because you don't make many successful investments unless the people on the other side of the transaction get something out of it true, is something that should encourage African governments.
That's not what you write in this book.
Oh, that's because he didn't write the book. And he also
that's so good. He didn't even read it himself. Probably he's like, "All right, Banyan, thanks. Here's your cool mill."
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so there's a couple of things. I mean, there was the Uyghur story came out, and this other thing. He said supposedly there's a China deal. Yeah, play this clip. This is Bolton Bear and the China deal, which is bull crap.
China deal.
Purchase more agricultural products to help him in states that were important for his election.
And you write in the book that that's exactly what happened. However, Ambassador Lighthizer on Capitol Hill under oath was asked about this very thing, this very meeting. Here's what he said.
Absolutely untrue. Never happened. I was there. I have no recollection of that ever happening. I said what meeting I was at, and this never happened in it, for sure.
He's under oath on Capitol Hill saying that.
Right. Well, look, we could line all of us who were at that meeting up under oath. I'd be happy to do that, too. That is my recollection, but I think more importantly, I think that's what the Chinese side recollects as well.
Did you tell anybody about that after that meeting, or your concerns about that?
I had a number of conversations about it within the NSC.
Anybody like White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney or White House counsel or someone like that?
I don't know about Mulvaney, but I think there were a lot of conversations about it, as there were about other issues that I did brief the White House counsel and the Attorney General on. There's a certain point, I think, when everybody hears these things in the White House, they become inured to them. And I think that's a real part of the problem in the Trump administration.
Now, the thing that's interesting is that in this I'm going to play one more clip, and then I'm going to play a counter clip that's from PBS. This is Bolton, and this is now, if you're going to talk about Bear being kind of a bonehead, he doesn't really go after what Bolton says in this little segment. Bolton says it twice, and I'm going to tell you what it is in advance so you can hear it, and then you'll hear Bear just step on it.
Okay.
Both times. And what he says is, Bolton turns out that he never heard this conversation between Trump and Xi, because it was a private meeting, and what he heard was second or third hand sources from what the translators were discussing amongst themselves.
Right.
So he says, well, so apparently and this could have been, for all we know, since the translators could be shot by the CCP for revealing anything.
Yeah.
It could have been bullcrap. It could have been setting him up.
Yep.
And so he kind of tries to say this, and Bear should jump on that and go right into, wait, you heard what? From who? From the translators or what? Anyway, when you hear it, this is the Bolton Bear Uyghur story.
The other one that you point out from that G20 meeting in Osaka, the side bilat, was this talk about the Uyghur concentration camps, the retraining camps. You say that the president essentially said, go ahead and build them?
Right. This was what was reported both at Osaka and at a previous conversation between Xi Jinping and the president by the interpreters who heard it being said. That's what I was saying.
I mean, you're sure that that's what was said?
That's what was reported.
Because that's eye-opening if true.
And it's consistent with his approach to human rights in China generally, even though, for example, he recently signed congressional legislation which really simply consolidated sanctions authority he already had. Not just a few days ago, he said that the Uyghur issue had interrupted his trade negotiations with China. The point is not what he believes when he signs the particular legislation or what he says when he's dealing with the Chinese. It's that he doesn't particularly believe any of it longer than it takes to get past the day he's dealing with.
What you've discovered here is very important, and I'm all on board with Steve Bannon. I follow Steve Bannon. I like seeing what he's doing. And as far as I'm concerned, his War Room Pandemic with your host, Stephen K. Bannon, War Room. As far as I'm concerned, he's doing that as a paid performer for whoever hates the CCP. The China Global News, there's something, he has some deal, and they're paying him. He is all about anti-China, and I'm sure that he put this right into that book to also make the CCP look bad, which his paymasters are telling him to do. Who the hell is like some billionaire who is funding?
Yeah, I think that's a guy that lives in the United States, got kicked out of China. But before you go into that analysis, I want to get this Uyghur thing out of the way.
Sure.
Mainly because he's talking about what these translators said back and forth, and then he's reporting it from a report, and that becomes fact.
It's a backup.
And I want to play. This is the Bolton aside. PBS Negroponte on PBS NewsHour. And he's analyzing, again, what we're told is in the book. Nobody reads the book. Nobody thinks twice about it. And so it's now in the public domain. It's a meme that Trump told Xi, do whatever you want with the Uyghurs. And then, but there's a point where it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of explained in this clip. When they try to analyze it, the foreign affairs correspondent from NewsHour and Negroponte go on with this little back and forth and leaving out the 1/3 possibility, which they never address, and the left news will never address this. What if the whole thing about the Uyghurs and the discussion between Trump and Xi is just made up? It's bullshit. Trump never said anything about the Uyghurs. Why should he? And he did clamp down on the companies that built the camps. But they figure, well, Trump's just a liar. He says one thing and does another. So listen to this.
But when I talk to the president's allies, they point out the policy. So, for example, President Trump apparently told Xi Jinping, the president of China, that Muslim Uyghurs could be interned in these camps during a private meeting. But the policy is that the Trump administration has sanctioned and put export controls on 33 companies for building those very camps. And that dichotomy holds true, especially when it comes to China policy. So, does the president's closed-door flattery matter when the administration's policy is confrontational?
Well, I think, first of all, you've got to allow for the possibility that if the president says that privately, it encourages President Xi Jinping to take even sterner measures against the Uyghur population. So there's that point. And secondly, perhaps he could have helped avoid some pain being inflicted on the Uyghurs if he'd taken a more of an advocate position on behalf of human rights in China rather than flattering the or accommodating President Xi Jinping as he.
The reason why I brought up Bannon and his show is because he's always talking about the Uyghurs. Always. It's always about the CCP is killing the Uyghurs, the Uyghurs. You're so right. I'm just backing up your assessment here. I think you've nailed it.
Well, the
very
thing
impressive.
that bothers me the most is that the policy, they say, well, look at the policy. We don't have any proof that he said anything to Xi about the Uyghurs, and we don't know what he said.
No.
We have Bolton's made-up fantasy, which the media is picking up. Oh, yeah, well, I know that he gave him the go-ahead, but I don't know why he's doing this policy. The policy doesn't make any sense if you think that way. I mean, just look at the policy and stop believing the lies. Talk about lies.
Lies.
These are the lies.
Lies. Lies, I tell you.
So you believe the lies, and then you try to make sense of the reality, which is that he's shut down, these companies that had anything to do with building all the camps. But he's a bad person. He's an orange man bad. I mean, this is something else is always flattering Xi. Like Xi needs to be flattered. Give me a break.
Well,
So
I'm
just
concerned.
find it very
I'm
very
concerned.
annoying.
Well, we'll have to see if Bannon actually wrote the book, which I think is very possible. Then we have a player on the scene we got to keep an eye on, unless he was straight up for the money and is out, and he just got some shit off his chest. But everyone knows, and that's why don't read it. It's no good. It's Bannon.
So that's not what they're saying. They're saying it's no good.
I know.
If they knew it was Bannon, they definitely want anyone to read it.
Yeah. Huh.
They really hate Bannon.
Now I got to read this thing. Damn it. 500 pages of what was it?
Arial. That's okay. It's big, giant letters.
All right. Good one, John.
It was actually written for the Democrats.
Yeah, no kidding. Good luck with that.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we have a few people to thank for show 1254. I'm going to start losing my numbers here.
Yes.
Starting with Zach Douglas in Morro Bay, California. He did write a note. But we don't read notes under 200 usually, especially when there's a lot of donations. But I will mention he's a JRE guy and he wants some jobs karma.
Let me just make sure, because there was one other note I was flagging here. But yes, yeah, got it. Okay.
Sven Holstella. Oh, let me try this. Well, this is not a Dutch name. Sven Holstella in Turnhuizen. Terneuzen.
Sven Holstella.
Holstella.
Yeah, it could be Terneuzen. It's from Terneuzen. You get weird names like that in Terneuzen.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
James Buell in Spring Hill, Tennessee, $100.33. Gerald Clement in Oak Park, California, $100. Ian Field in Eastleigh, Hampshire, UK, $100. Jennifer Williams in Litchfield Park, Arizona.
And she needs a de-douching. She was hit in the mouth the last year by someone very dear to me. I listen every week, and I'm finally donating. Here it is.
You've been de-douched.
She's in for 100. Sirloin, one of the better night names. Night of the New Smyrna Beach Shark Shallows and surrounding shorelines in Osteen, Florida. 100. He's got a long note here
50,
for some reason.
55.
He turns 55. Hey,
today.
Good for you.
Yes.
Okay,
On the 25th,
you're on the list. Yes. Kate McKernan in Roanoke, Virginia. 100. Oh, yeah. She actually wrote in. When you write in a note at these lower levels, a good chance of getting them read because they're handwritten and they're put a lot of. And she has love at the end. Love, Kate.
You're such a
Dear
sucker.
John and Adam, please de-douche me.
You've been
It's been 2 years since my last donation. That donation made my husband Sir Timothy Knight of the Chestnut Ridge. Today I start my path to become a dame. Love the show. It's kept me sane in 2020. Well, I think that's. A lot of people seem to think that way. Kelly Milligan in Elko, Nevada, 100. Mark Annabelle in Gladsville, New South Wales. That would be, it's 100 Australian.
And once,
Jobs karma from my friend Mick. We'll put you at the end there.
Yep.
Sir Rick in Arlington, Washington, 6969. Brian Taylor in Houston, Texas, 6913. Does he need de-douching? He's
Yeah, long-time boner. First-time donor was at the Magnolia meetup. I thought trollfisher.com was catchy, so I linked it to y'all. Okay, thank you. Get your de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
David Forbes in Shakopee, Minnesota, 6006. He needs a de-douching.
Yeah.
You've been de-douched.
Well, I guess this was to be read that he recently got the donation okay from his lovely bride as she has been hit in the mouth. It was a battle because John's
this
voice.
One I said you have to. Yeah.
Yes, John.
Yeah, I have to read this.
Jeez. Go.
This has to be read for this reason. I recently no big deal, but please give me a de-douching. Work my way tonight. My 606 is my fourth. I am many-year listener, but just started donating. Recently got the donation okay from my lovely bride as she recently has been hit in the mouth. It was a battle because John's voice grates on her. Sorry, John. And there's also college that needs to be paid for. So my voice apparently grates on this woman.
This woman.
Do I have a grating voice? Is it bothering everybody?
I can see how it can grate on some people, as mine does for others. It's a personal choice. She just hates you. For your opinion.
Okay, well, if you just hate me, that's fine.
For your opinion.
As long as you let your husband donate. As long as you've given him the okay.
No, she's in now. She's been hit in the mouth, so now it's okay.
Yeah, we doubt it.
Oh, now this is uncalled for. Tears will come.
Well, Sir Jofo's next. The Plundering Night in Chicago, Illinois, 5909. Sir Chris, James of Southwest Michigan, in Sturgis, Michigan. Is that where the motorcycles go? 5560. I think I asked this before. I think
Sturgis,
it's maybe Ohio.
It's a different. I don't think it's in Michigan.
I think it's in Ohio or someplace.
Yeah.
5560. Stan Gomberg, 5510. Troy Watson, 5369 in Western Shore, Nova Scotia. Huh. John Patrick in Decatur, Illinois. We have another John Patrick. This is in addition to his earlier $3,000 donation.
What?
I want to add $53 on the occasion of my 53rd birthday.
This guy's amazing. He hit the jackpot on something.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you, John.
You're the best. John Gaynor in Aldie, Virginia, 5280. Chantel Thompson in Tracy, California, Windy Tracy.
6 years ago, let me just stop here, Chantal. 6 years ago,
50.
I donated for my hunk of a husband, D. Redman, to get karma for a job interview. He got the job, and I have not donated since. Can I get a douching and a de-douching? I want to send him birthday wishes. Can you do a get a load, the juice? Why don't you do the get a load and the juice, and we'll de-douche it here.
You've been de-douched.
So rude, I tell you.
Forrest Martin's next with 5005. Andrew Benz in Imperial, Missouri, 5005. Sir Scott Nelson in Melbourne, Florida, 5001. And the following people are $50 donors, name and location. Maya Mitchell Kaufman in Hillsboro, Oregon. Tristan Martens in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wesley Weisenhunt, or Wisenhunt, probably Weisenhunt, in Newnan, Georgia, 50. Nicholas Sell, 50. Chris Merriman, New Baltimore, Michigan, 50. By the way, we'll read this later to ourselves.
Well, it's actually in there because
it's a long note. I don't know why I wrote it.
No, I'll just summarize. He went to go visit Cal at Lavender Blossoms.
Oh, good old Cal, Lavender Blossoms.
Because he'd been ordering CBD salve for his wife's ailments. I'm not sure what that is. He heard that Cal had sent us the raw honey. So he emailed him and said, "Hey man, are you selling the honey?" So we invited him to the farm, which he took him on a tour. And here's the point of it. When he was leaving, he said, "We talked about No Agenda quite a bit when I was there. A few nights came up, of course. You and John were big topics, and the tribe in whole. Cal then gave me a giant medicinal gift bag for my wife, way beyond my expectations and belief, explained all the medicinal effects and what it was good for. When I asked the price, he said it was a gift for a tribe member. Almost felt like family. Well, that's not funny. It's beautiful. Almost felt like family after talking to him.
do.
Trading our histories and experiences. This is when the revelation hit me. I actually feel like I am part of something great. Well, you are. It is. Our very own media tribe. Our Value for Value network. It was a nice note, Chris. Thanks.
I never got to honey.
It's coming. I'm sure you'll get it.
I did get some other stuff, and I got to thank the maple syrup guy who sent me a note, and I lost that too.
Yeah, good work.
I'll get it. It all gets resolved eventually.
Sir Patrick, go ahead.
Sir Patrick Maycomb, Viscount, New York. These are all $50 donors. Sir Silver Dude of the Silver Dolphins in Severn, Maryland. Alexa Delgado in Aptos, California. Jesus Allen in Austin, Texas. Jason Hart in Penn Valley, California. Julian Robbins in Aptos, California. And last but not least, Sir Jerry Wingenroth in Saugus, California. I want to thank all these folks for making show 1254 possible.
And also special thanks to our producers who came in with full anonymity, under $50. A lot of those are the subscriptions. We really appreciate that. Always keeps a base. But this has been a very good day, and really appreciate, as we did earlier, our executive producers, associate executive producers, whose titles are there for a reason. But all of you producers, thank you for putting this together. Thank you for the clips. Thank you for the artwork. Thank you for the ideas, the insight, your experience. And thank you for your financial value for value. Really appreciate it. And we'll be here for you again to bring you the best podcast in the universe on Sunday. To support us, go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
Let's give everybody those jobs karmas that we need.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
It's your birthday on No Agenda.
Yeah, let me see. Today is the 25th of June, 2020. Here is a rundown of our birthday list. Kelly Milligan says happy birthday to Bob Milligan. Circumvent the Law, happy birthday to Dame G Money. Kathleen Stokes says happy birthday to her husband. He turned 38 yesterday. DC Girl, happy birthday to her smoking hot friend, Sir William of West Pennsylvania, celebrating today. Sir Loin, 55 today. Sir John Patrick, 53 is today as well. And Chantel Thompson says happy birthday to her husband, D. Redman. And we say happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. Okay, we got a title change coming up, but not until we have done our Knights and Dames. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 today.
One time we had none.
Well, it does happen when we have none, but now we have 7. So I need...
I got the big gold one.
Wow, sounded good and big. Up on the podium right now, please, if you wouldn't mind joining me. John Patrick, Christopher Kessler, Daniel Langman, Austin Ramsdale, Alex Simkus, Jared Monta, and Anonymous in North Carolina. All of you now become Knights of the No Agenda Roundtable. I'm happy to pronounce the Sir J.D. Mack, Oracle of the Digital Prairie, Sir Knight of the Marshland, Surveyor of the Realm, Sir Austin, Assistant to the New Human Resource, Sir Alex of North Burien, Sir Jared of South Burien, and Sir Boiled Peanut for you, hookers and blow, rent boys, and Chardonnay. We also have garbage juice and needle caps. We got your sparkling cider and escorts, your ginger ale and gerbils, and, well, you see it all here at the round table. And, of course, we have mutton and meat. And please, our new Knights, head over to noagendanation.com/rings. Eric the Shill will get on the stick for you. Make sure you get your all the official paperwork, your sealing wax, and, of course, your ring as soon as we can get it out to you. And thank you so much for supporting the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
And we have that immediate title change to Insta Baron for Sir J.D. Mack, Oracle of the Digital Prairie, with his Insta Baron donation. Could not be more thankful. Sir J.D., all you have to let us know is what your protectorate will be, and we'll gladly reflect that on all of the peerage maps. And thank you for supporting the No Agenda Show.
No Agenda meetups.
we had a few parties rolling over the past few days. We have a couple of quick No Agenda Meetup reports. These are good. I'd like them to be a minute or less. And that's exactly the directive people took. And we go first to Bisbee, which I believe is in Arizona.
In the morning, Adam and John, this is Joe from the very first Bisbee, Arizona meetup, which was a huge success. We've got a couple of people that want to introduce themselves. First, we have Vince.
Hi, this is Vince Dane from Tucson, Arizona. Not a douchebag, but I did hit my mom in the mouth, who is still a douchebag.
This is Tiffany, Vince's mom, and I hit my friend Will in the mouth.
This is Will, and Tiffany hit me in the mouth, and I'm trying to hit somebody else in the mouth.
Hi, this is Sunny from Maricopa. I'm not a douchebag.
Hi, this is Sir Mike from Sierra Vista. I'm here with my wife, Ludmilla, who has not been hit in the mouth.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I'm Nick. I was hit in the mouth by gpotter.net, I think, and I'm a giant douchebag.
This is Sean, co-host with Joe, and we had an absolutely fabulous meetup here in Bisbee. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone, and... Adios!
And such.
So they did some crazy Airbnb where I think, John, we have a standing invitation. The whole family, we can do a reunion. This place is so big. Yeah, it's really nice. Really nice.
I'm in.
Then one more report. Dan, said the man who will never get on an airplane. You're in. We're not allowed to fly even to New York anymore.
No, that's not true. I'm in California. I looked at the states, and Washington's one of them, and California is not. I can fly to New York.
Oh, I can't.
You can't.
Dansville, New York, everybody. Meetup report.
Hi, John and Adam. This is Nate coming at you from the Western New York meetup in Dansville. Not going to lie, we kind of miss you guys because it's been pretty cool. Just going to pass you around here.
ITM, John and Adam. This is Anthony. We set the No Agenda meetup today here in Dansville, Battle Street Brewery. It's turned out to be a pretty good time. There's a couple that had to cancel on us, but we're still having a party.
Hi, John and Adam. This is Brent. I'm here with my smoking hot wife, Sarah, just eating some mac and cheese outside, having a good time.
In the morning, this is Sir Jason from the southern tier of New York.
I'm here with my bride, and there's 33 of us standing around here, minus a few. So it's been a grand time, and we're going to do it again.
It's like a party.
You know what I like about these reports is when you listen to it, there's always someone you hear who sounds like you. And there's always a whole bunch of people who go like, wow, they're there? People like that. It's so, I love it. I really love it. It's such an eclectic mix.
Clip,
yeah.
In that last clip, there was a guy who sounded exactly like the KTVU sports guy. I think it's Mark Ibanez.
Oh, really?
Identical. I would track him down and have him do some prank calls, which is always my idea, by the way. You hear somebody, you sound just like somebody like you do a prank call.
Say something horrible.
Yeah.
Your exit strategies are very, very dark, Mr. Dvorak.
Prank calls.
Here's a quick look at what we have on noagendameetups.com. And these are all organized by producers themselves. And, you can get all the details at noagendameetups.com. Today, this evening, is the Porcupine Freedom Festival in Lancaster, New Hampshire. Will is organizing, 7 o'clock. Then we have this Saturday, the Central Texas Second Meat Shoot, 10 a.m. I'm going to try and make that, but I'm doing some recording now on Saturday, so we'll see. But of course, Sir Scott Barron of the No Agenda Armory. Extensive details on the noagendameetups.com website. Also on Saturday, Tampa Bay's Day Drinking Meetup. Yay! 2 o'clock at Green Bench Brewing Company in St. Pete. So look for Sir Losibin Night of the Psychonauts. And on Sunday, Kansas City Meetup. That'll be the Sunday Fun Day edition at 3:30 Eastern Time in Liberty, Missouri. Dame Delarian and Sir Spencer Wolf of Kansas City organizing. Also on Sunday the 28th, the No Agenda Local 1 afternoon hangout. That's in Plymouth, Michigan at Dickey's Barbecue Pit. Sir Timothy of No Fixed Title will be hosting that for you. And finally on the list for what we have coming up on Tuesday, Montreal up north still needs a hand planning. Anyone? Oh, help Mark C. Okay, so there's some help that needs, someone needs help up there. And for all of this, you can go to noagendameetups.com. And if there's not a meetup near you, just start one yourself. Noagendameetups.com. It's like a party.
Sometimes you wanna go hang out with all the nights and days. You wanna be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You wanna be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
So we had developments in the Michael Flynn case, where it now appears that he will indeed walk away from this. Although,
the funny thing, I didn't get a clip of it because it was too much fawning, and I wasn't sure it was legit. But he immediately called into Rush Limbaugh's show just out of the blue, and they put him on. He talked about this a little bit.
Oh, really?
It was kind of interesting. He was just thanking him for the support, pretty much.
Well, Tina, the keeper, she's a Sidney Powell disciple. Sidney Powell has quite a following of fangirls.
Yes,
that
was discussed by the two of them.
Oh, really? Well, it's dedicated, and she's a hero, man, for a whole bunch of things. But also just her books, and I mean, Tina's reading these law books by Sidney Powell. But I think she did. I think she nailed it. I think she nailed everybody to the wall, and it's very apparent now that trouble ahead. This was kind of the last line of defense. We even had former President Obama coming out and saying, "Oh, it's crazy. Can't have this guy being let off. That's no good." And now we have implications that both Joe and the president were in the meetings, knew it was being talked about, and it's in Peter Strzok's handwriting that Joe Biden asked about the which stupid act is it? The Logan Act. And so for Joe to say, "Oh, I didn't know, I had no idea what was going on," and this goes all the way up to Obama. It's coming out. It's coming out. And with this, we're very excited because now we have Flynn free. You know what's next? Thousands of unsealed indictments. Yes. And who is always at the tip of the spear? No one other than the money honey, Maria Bartiromo, speaking with Attorney General Bill Barr.
We're waiting on John Durham's investigation, a criminal investigation. What bearing does the election have on that? I haven't heard any Democrats raise any upset over the fact that wiretapping of an American citizen was illegal. An FBI agent changed evidence, changed a document, a whole host of issues. So am I to believe that if we don't get the results of the John Durham investigation before the election and Donald Trump loses, we won't hear another word about this?
Well, first, I agree with you. It's been stunning that all we've gotten from the mainstream media is sort of bovine silence in the face of the...
What is bovine silence? I'm not quite... Did I miss an intellectual
Cows
joke?
don't make a lot of noise when they're in the field munching the cud.
It's just an odd one to throw at I've never heard the term bovine silence. It tickled you. You liked it, apparently. Yeah, that was good.
Well, first, I agree with you. It's been stunning that all we've gotten from the mainstream media is sort of bovine silence in the face of the complete collapse of the so-called Russiagate scandal, which they did all they could to sensationalize and drive. And it's like not even a whoops, they just on to the next false scandal. So that has been surprising to me, that people aren't concerned about civil liberties and in the integrity of our governmental process. In terms of the future of Durham's investigation, he's pressing ahead as hard as he can, and I expect that, we will have some developments, hopefully before the end of the summer. But as I've said, his investigation will continue. It's not going to stop because of the election. What happens after the election may depend on who wins the election.
Yeah, I agree with him. this election is going to be very meaningful for a lot of people who are very worried. And we'll see.
Oh, if let's say this isn't resolved, which I assume it won't be, since that's all they do is talk about it, and I haven't seen anything come of it, considering how quickly they did the impeachment and how fast they wrapped up Flynn and threw him in jail or put him into a silent mode. So this is taking an inordinately long period of time. But if the election goes Trump's way, they'll put this thing in high gear and they'll start throwing people in jail. So they got to get rid of Trump. That's what they just got to get Biden in. And they're looking at a flawed candidate and they're covering up all this. I mean, I think we're the only show that plays these clips. I mean, you see them on Twitter, but they're even suppressed on Twitter.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because they don't let you pass that stuff around. So there's not the number of people that would hear the Vaxeline clip,
which is dynamite.
Is nil. Only our audience. They are doing a great job of hiding what they can. It's just astonishing to me.
They really are. Well, that's why we're here.
It's hurting their health.
Well, that's why we're here. That's why there's two of us.
I have a cute little clip here.
Okay.
One of our producers sent me.
We like that.
And it's from this really popular show. It's on HBO, Netflix, called 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
And 13 Reasons Why is taken from a novel. It's a young adult novel, and it's very popular. It's in its 4th season. And it's about a bunch of kids in school lamenting the death of a suicidal girl who killed herself, and then she left a bunch of tapes behind, and she's got her 13 reasons, which are 13 people why she killed herself. And
it's like a true crime drama, kind of in a way.
Yeah, kind of a little more drama than true crime. Right. And I noticed a couple of things that the producers, what they did. I tried to find some China connection. I couldn't do that, but I did
good
find.
Work, though. That's what we want to always be looking for.
I'm looking. It's like we always used to look for pipeline.
Yeah, now it's China. Yeah, CCP.
China. So I couldn't find it, but I did find they're very socially SJW. For example, they changed names of the characters in the book. One of the characters' names was a coolie, which is not an uncommon name, Cooley, but it sounds like coolie. It sounds like a Chinese man name. So they changed it to something else, Case or something like that. They gratuitously turned a couple of the people not in the book. They turned him into gay. They're gay, and the main character in the book had a lesbian affair, which was not in the book.
Oh, we got to appeal to the audience.
The lesbian affair. He had 2 girls kissing, so let's do that. But the clip that he wanted me to play, which was kind of a students' revolt, kind of a Black Lives Matter theme. It was this one kid. I'll give you the setup. The clip is called. Well, you can find the clip and you can see where it is. It is set up like this. There's a riot going on. The cops are clubbing people because somebody goes and spits in the cop's face. The cop clubs and they go, "Oh my God!" Oh. And so they're back and forth, the cops and the students, and then something happens. I don't know. They throw gas bombers, and the kids all start running. They're all running away from the cops. One of the kids looks knowingly at another kid, and he's got a bullhorn in his hand. He says, and he knows this kid is a good public speaker. So they look at each other knowingly. He throws the bullhorn to the kid, and the kid chases after the crowd that's running away and jumps on a car, kind of wrecks the roof of it, and starts saying, "Stop, stop, stop! You've got to go back!" And he riles them up, and they all turn like any idiot would do. They turn and they charge the cops, and a melee ensues, and it's riotous. But here's the kind of thing the Hollywood wants us to think about.
Hey, hold on! Don't run away from this! Listen to me. Look, they're gonna try to make us think that we're the problem. But we are not the problem. We go to the school that they built for us. We live in the society that they made for us. And shit is broken. Shit is wrong. And they can't fix it. They won't. So it's our turn now. We're gonna make it right if we have to burn it down and start over. So I say fuck it all. Fuck yeah! We're fighting. Who's with me? Fuck it all! Fuck it all! Let's go!
the equivalent of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
It's the worst.
I want to remind, fuck it all, it's Friday. Oh, my goodness.
So I want to remind people, this is a 50-year cycle, and the movie you want to track down and watch, which is a tame version of this movie, but it's better written, is a movie called Over the Edge. And the Over the Edge was in about 1977, I believe, 73. It was a movie about the enemy of suburban living and how boring it was and how it drove kids crazy. And it's pretty much the same kind of movie. But because I heard this lame speech, I wanted to hear what's a real rabble-rouser sound like when it's always going to be a she's up there. And so I found, went to Chop or Chop or whatever it's called now.
Chaz.
Mm-hmm. Chaz Chop. Kshama Sawant. Kshama Sawant is the communist who was in the Seattle City Council, calls herself a socialist, but she's a communist. And do we want to burn it down? Yes, we want to burn it down. But what are we really after? What are we trying to accomplish? And she's got a big crowd around her in one of these outdoor speeches. She was there along with a bunch of other people, all shaking their fists at the cops and saying cop unions have got to go and they shouldn't be in the AFL-CIO and all this stuff. Here is what a real speech sounds like. It doesn't have quite the turn on the cops at the moment kind of quality, but it tells you all you need to know about what you're really up against.
And for a different kind of society that is free of police, racism, and oppression entirely. Let's begin by continuing to win reforms and even more radical reforms. At the same time, understanding, as Malcolm X said, you cannot have capitalism without racism. So if we want to end racism, we are going to have to fight like hell to win the reforms, but we have to fight to end the system of capitalism itself and fight for a world. Fight for a world that is based on equality. And that would be a socialist world, and that can only begin when the working class as a whole fights to take democratic public control over the major corporations, because when you don't own the wealth, you don't own the power. So let's fight. No justice. No justice. No racist. No racist. Solidarity.
Well, she's a very interesting type of person. I would say she's a classist, probably, just based on her upbringing.
Oh yeah, she's probably that upper ring of the
from the caste
Hindu society.
Yes, yeah, classist, typical classist, systemic classism.
And so she is getting people riled up. Wants to bring down, and she's got the right mood. You 2 shows ago, you mentioned Vogue magazine pushing Marxism. Of all things, Condé Nast pushing Marxism. Something that we got to look at more. And all the schools currently, they're pushing Marxism, and they're getting everybody ready for a revolt that's not going to go anywhere because there's only idiots that buy into this. So people with very naive people with no education. But she's there. AOC says it would say the same thing. I don't see any difference.
Well, we'll leave you with that happy-ass thought. But that means it's only 2 years. Everybody can be voted out. Then again, your mileage may differ depending on the country you live in. Same issues. Coming up on NoAgendaStream.com, we've got, the Nick the Rat Show with Andrew Horowitz, a must-listen podcast episode. Cannot miss that ever. End of show mixes. We got Jesse Coy Nelson, Danny Luce. Thank you both. And we look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Remember us at thevorak.org/NA. And then coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. If you're looking for it on the governmental maps, it's FEMA Region number 6. Until Sunday in the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the New World Order is still outside digging up the streets for reasons unknown, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Until then, as always, adios, mofos! And such.
Boogity, 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 amen.
There's the noodle.
I'm gonna shoot you with my noodle gun, 'cause cancel culture is so much fun. I wanna erase some history, 'cause white male privilege is oppressing me.
This woman has turned her account into like a call-out account where people are sending her like incriminating DMs or social media posts or whatever, and she's publicizing them. She, for instance, targeted like a Yale freshman who, when she was 15, used the N-word in like in some sort of meme or social media thing. This is really spreading. I think Me Too for microaggressions is a great way to put it, and we're seeing the same sort of apologies, self-flagellation, promises to do better.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese, cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
There's the noodle.
Well, we've had, just to recap, Noodle Gun based on Noodle Boy. Right-wing racist agitprop. But
the young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. He'll recover in about 15 minutes. That's the case. And up to it. That's the case. We got another one over here.
The racism.
Also looking at the president's, long history of his speech, his ability to sort of convey information.
South Texas, Carolina, Oregon, Mississippi, Utah, California, South Arkansas, Arizona are all seeing a surge.
Recap, Noodle Gun based on Noodle Boy.
It still appears to be rare that an asymptomatic individual actually transmits onward.
Trump comes across as seeming like he's engaged with the material is in the asides, is in the ad-libs.
The racism. California.
Symptomatic person actually transmits onward to a secondary individual.
WHO, walk that back.
So there were quite a lot of messages.
All seeing a certain
and try to find the word law.
Yesterday in the press conference were a very few studies, some 2 or 3 studies. But from the data we have, it still seems to be rare.
That's the case.
His speech.
Another one over here.
Onward. Be focused on.
The president virus are not linked to recent protests such as the Black Lives Matter.
Rare that an asymptomatic person actually transmits onward. Long history of his speech, his ability.
California, Oregon, Arkansas, and Arizona.
Making some clarifications to some points. Yesterday in the press conference.
It's horrible. Completely and utterly messed up.
If you're going to barge into people's houses, knock on the door.
Mississippi United person.
Woman wearing an I Can't Breathe t-shirt this morning at the request of Trump campaign.
Things that this is not about. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Oregon, Arkansas.
AIDS from the 16th century. Talk about how America got into lawns. Lawns go way back in American history.
And Arizona, Texas.
Had lawns. Nevertheless,
Texas, Carolina.
The
best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Love joining you.